Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Hey, welcome to the Thursday edition of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, along with Jason Lloyd and Tyvis Powell. I'm Adam the Bull.
Wait. On time.
Tyvis Powell. After being an hour and 42 minutes late the other day.
Jason's sick. Like, the fact that I left Columbus at 8:55 and I got here before him, and he lives, 15 minutes away?
More than that.
20 minutes away?
26.
2 hours versus 20 minutes.
26. Although I had to go slow today.
It was crazy out there. Yeah. Coming from the west side, the rain was nuts.
Yeah, when I got tours downtown, it was a lot of hazards. And so everybody,
was
a lot of hydroplane. And actually, it was an accident. Where is that at? I can't think of exactly where it's at, but it's an accident. This car hydroplaned and bang.
I've done that before.
Yeah, and then everybody's got to stop and stare, of course, which makes it worse.
Well, it's all the way in the fast lane, so I went to the middle lane, went around.
One of my 3 accidents was a hydroplane.
You know what the most shocking?
That's a shame.
The most shocking thing about the story is there's only been 3 accidents. That's really the biggest surprise in that sentence.
3. Well, 2.
Yeah.
2 or 3.
2.5. Yeah. But by the way, I get it. Sometimes people are nervous driving when it's raining, and you don't want to drive too fast when it's raining.
Correct.
You should be more careful.
Yeah.
But I had to put the phone down today.
When you
I'm floored right now.
When you get into these accidents, are they your fault?
Yes.
Okay. So when it's your fault, like what do you do? Like when you're the one that caused the accident?
Well, you're never supposed to say I'm sorry. I learned that. You're never supposed to admit guilt.
Yeah. That lawsuit, that big athletic money you get.
When I was 18, I totaled the same car twice. That's hard to do.
And what'd your parents do?
They wanted to strangle me and kick me out of the house because I was driving down 90. It was the first one was summertime, and I was just driving, and there was like an old house I'd never noticed before. It was on a road I'm on all the time. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Bam! I hit a Jeep and threw a Jeep into a dump truck.
Yeah.
And the woman I hit was actually my boss's wife when I was umpiring Little League. And she was okay, and the dump truck driver sued for emotional damage and won.
What?
Got like $30,000 out of my insurance company, and this was 20.
What kind of emotional damage did he have?
Driving a dump truck, getting hit by a Jeep.
Oh, come on. God.
So they fixed it because it was a brand new car. My parents just bought it for me, like graduation present thing. And so there was a big car loan out on it.
Yeah.
So they fixed it. I had it back probably 2 months.
Yeah.
I was driving down 90, and my mom called, and she said, whatever you do, stay off 90 because it gets really bad. It gets real icy in the wintertime. I'm like, yeah, and they were going out of town. I'm like, yeah, no problem, got it. And like not even 10 minutes later,
Mom warned you.
into the guardrail. So, and I was like, this would have been, it was the Browns-Steelers playoff game in like 95 or whatever it was.
Okay.
Well, it could have been 95.
Not 95, but yeah.
Whatever. There was a Browns-Steelers game on that day, I remember. And my parents pulled in because they were gone all weekend. When they got home, and I was like sitting out the window just sweating. I'm dying because I know they're going to see the car.
Did you lie about it happening on 90?
No, I just didn't tell them anything. I wanted them to enjoy their weekend. So they came home, and my dad just started to walk in the house. He looks at the car, and he walks back over, and he looks at the damage, and he looks at my mom, and he looks at the car, and he looks at my mom, and he points at the car like, he did it again.
And that was a sign of things to come.
And they fixed it again. They went and I'm like, I'm still known to this day at this body shop because I'm the only person to total 2 cars and have it fixed. Total 1 car twice.
That's an impressive record there.
Yeah,
that's up in the Guinness.
And then I hydroplaned on 90 coming home from a Cavs
90
game.
for you, man.
Yeah, I know, right?
You need to stay off
coming
90.
home from a Cavs game. It's when they played. It was a preseason game.
Yeah.
And I hydroplaned and totaled a different car. So those are the 3
It's unreal.
Your accidents is like no coming back from.
No.
If you go do it, you go all the way,
By
total
the
it
way,
out.
if you're going to drive with your blinkers on, make sure you're in the right lane. You shouldn't be driving with your hazard lights on in the middle lane or the fast lane. That makes no sense.
Oh, they was all in the middle.
If you got your
lane.
hazard lights on, you have to be in the right lane. That's the rules. It's that simple. By the way, I'll tell one more quick story while we're telling accident stories, because I got into accidents when I was young. I haven't gotten into an accident.
You got into an accident?
But
Man.
believe it or not, I got you topped on one thing. I actually hit a person once.
Did you really?
And believe it or not, this is impossible to believe, but it's true. It actually was not my fault. If you would think you hit a person, how could it not be your
That's
fault?
what I said.
Right?
Anytime you hit a person, like
Okay,
it's-
so I was on a extremely busy street in Brooklyn. It was it's a 4-lane like main thoroughfare in Brooklyn. It's called Ocean Parkway. It's a very busy street in Brooklyn.
Okay.
There's always a lot of traffic, right? So it's 2 lanes this way, 2 lanes this way, right? So I'm in the right lane, going this way. The left lane was moving a little slower. It was kind of like almost stopped in the left lane. The right lane was just going slow, but it was moving a little faster. And here I come. There's a van right here in the left lane. I'm pulling up here. As soon as I reach level with the van, this girl comes. Literally, it was like she jumped in front of my car. She had run across the street, apparently, cut right in front of the van and tried to get to she didn't see me coming. I immediately jammed on the brakes, but I hit her. At first, I thought I killed her.
Jeez.
I did not, thankfully. But the crazy thing was, this neighborhood I was in Brooklyn, at the time, almost everybody that lived there was like just off the boat Russian, right? So I get out of the car to see what's going on. Everybody's talking Russian. The girl was speaking. I couldn't talk to anybody. Nobody spoke English there except for me. I'm like, I'm thinking the Russian mob's going to come. I'm going to get taken out of here. What the hell's going to happen?
Somebody kitchen.
And fortunately, nothing came of it. I never got sued, nothing.
Wow.
The police came, but I don't know. It's crazy. Thankfully, she lived. I didn't want to kill anybody. I don't want to have that on my conscience.
I mean, I just hit other cars and
Yeah, that was.
He hits humans.
I hit humans.
Both of y'all is out of line.
I once saw. I was getting off the Brooklyn Bridge one time, and I was driving. For those who know, probably most people don't, but you probably know, Jason. When you get off the Brooklyn Bridge, you go down this one road. I think it's Chambers Street, and you get onto the West Side Highway. Right?
I stay at that Marriott at the bottom of the Brooklyn Bridge.
So at when you get down to Chambers Street, there's a right turn. It's a very busy place in Manhattan, one of the busiest areas. And 3 cars in front of me, this homeless guy, tried to race across the street. He got hit and went like flying. In my memory, he went spinning, and I doubt that actually happened. But I remember he actually went in the air, and I was like, oh, my God, you just hit the homeless guy. Thankfully, that wasn't me. That guy had to be dead. Had to be dead, because he went up in the air. It was crazy.
I got one other thing I want to bring up.
Yeah, while we're telling about horrible stories, yeah.
So Earl is out today. Earl is just me and Aunt back here.
Yeah.
Earl is out. He's got food poisoning.
Ooh.
Said he's not feeling good. He's got food
my
poisoning.
goodness.
What is going on here? You
I
got
don't know.
food poisoning, now he's
I
got
know.
food
Well, Earl
poisoning?
tweeted something last night that I
Yeah.
think I'm going to draw a connect correlation to. I want to read this
Yeah.
tweet from Earl last night, and I think it may make some sense as to why he's out today. But this is what Earl
Yeah.
tweeted last night. Y'all want to know the most underrated meal? Tuna sandwich on toasted wheat bread with some plain chips and a Pepsi. It's really right there with burger and fries.
What's the problem?
You think it's
I have no
spoiled
problem
tuna?
with the tweet.
Yeah,
I think early to bed can of tuna.
maybe. Now, first of all, to say a tuna sandwich on toasted wheat bread is right up there with a burger and fries, that's insane. That's a little insane right off the bat.
That's Earl.
Don't kick a
Earl.
man when he's down.
But,
Earl is good at a lot of his food opinions.
weird.
It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah,
in the
he don't eat
world.
cheese on burgers.
It's the weirdest thing for me.
Yeah.
But hey, I like a nice tuna melt.
I do like tuna. I actually like tuna, too.
No, it's,
but
it's no disrespect to the tuna.
No
Tuna's
disrespect
a
to
good
the tuna.
sandwich, but it ain't a burger. And I'm guessing because he tweeted that at like 11 p.m. last night, that is part of the reason he is not feeling good this morning.
maybe.
Probably a direct correlation.
Yeah, all right. Enough with accidents and food poisoning. Let's get to some sports. Mike,
We got
what do
a big show for you guys. 2 guests in the second hour, but we will start with the schedule release for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm so excited.
Come on.
Oh,
From
sick.
FanDuel, guys, the NBA playoffs are still in full swing. Every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments, whether it's game-winning shots or breakout players. There's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, same-game parlays, and more. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com/UCSS and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Let me start by saying, before you get to what you want to get to, Mike, that when your team is a good team, their schedule is almost irrelevant. You don't care who you play when you root for a good team because you expect your team to win every game. They're not going to win every game, but you think they at least got a reasonable chance to win every game. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's really only when you root for a bad team or maybe even a mediocre team that you obsess on the schedule because you're like, oh, where can we find some wins here? When are they coming?
That's fair.
Good teams, it don't matter.
That's fair.
When you were playing for Ohio State, did it really matter who you were playing every week?
I mean, it was like a guarantee that we win. So
Right. So I guess it's not a great comparison.
For us,
college,
it was more like who are we going to beat down the worst?
Right.
Like, who's going to give us the
Yeah.
run for the money? That's
I'm just saying, when the
game.
Browns were good, say with Bernie, right in the '80s. Speaking of which, I can't believe I don't mention this. I'm driving. I left the station here.
You didn't hit Bernie, did you?
No. I got to tell the sidebar before I get back to Bernie. So I leave the station yesterday. I go down Lakeside. I make the left onto East 9th. I'm at the corner of East 9th and Prospect. I'm on the phone with my wife. And all of a sudden I hear honk, honk, and the person next to me opens up their window. And I said to my wife, Liz, I got to get off the phone. Bernie Kosar's honking me. so Bernie opens the window. I open my window. Like, Bernie, what's going on? I haven't seen you in a while. We just chat. He's like, how's it going? He's asking my opinion on the draft. I'm like,
This is in traffic.
Well, we were stopped at a light.
Okay.
We were stopped at a light. So for 30, it was a 30-second conversation. And I'm like, yeah, we got to see. You got to get back in the studio, blah blah blah. And then I call a friend of mine, and I'm like, if you would have told the 13-year-old me in 1984 that Bernie Kosar would be honking his horn to get my attention for a conversation, you would have been like,
What world
no
am I living
chance,
in?
right? And that was so funny.
That's where you know you made it, bull.
Yeah, exactly, right? So when Bernie played and the Browns were good, you think he was worried about who he was playing?
Nope.
No chance.
Well, this wasn't they got the schedule the night before the season started. In
Probably.
Where are we going tomorrow? Pittsburgh.
Well,
all right, get on the bus.
And they played 6 preseason games, which was insane.
So with that,
Yeah.
Bill, because I don't
Yeah.
disagree with anything you said, let us run through the schedule in
Yeah.
case anyone missed it. I'm going to read all 18 games, or 18 weeks, including the bye
You're really
week.
going to read all 18?
Wait,
I am going
before
to read
you
all
do,
18 for
painful.
you.
Before you
did
do
it last night on your post-game show.
And
It was
we're
a
gonna
little-
do it again
was a little
right
tough,
here.
a little
Wait,
tough.
before you do it,
Yeah.
did y'all like the Browns release video?
No, we'll get to that.
I didn't
Tyler.
see it. I didn't
we
see
will
it.
get to that.
I didn't-
We can't play it because we got dinged
Some of
for it
those,
last
some
night.
of their tweets were embarrassingly bad. But go ahead.
I didn't get it.
No one did. We can talk about the video
Okay,
later.
all right, go ahead.
But we have a podcast audience here too, Bull. We're on TV.
Yeah.
But we also have thousands of people that listen on podcasts. If we don't read the schedule, they don't know the schedule. So we're going
All
to
right.
read the schedule here
Make excuses.
for our audience here. In
Yeah.
week 1, the Browns at home taking on the Bengals. Week 2, on the road at Baltimore. Week 3, back home against the Packers. Week 4, in Detroit to take
I
on
like
the Lions.
the home away, home away, home away.
Week 5 in London. It's considered a home game, even though it's in London, against Minnesota. In week 6, they're back on the road against Pittsburgh. Week 7, the home road back and forth continues.
Yeah.
Home versus Miami. Week 8 on the road against New England. They have a week 9, middle of the season bye week. Week 10 back on the road to take on the New York Jets. Week 11 at home versus the Ravens. 12 at Las Vegas. Week 13, home against the 49ers. Week 14, home against the Titans. Week 15 at the Bears. And to round out the schedule, Week 16 versus the Bills. Week 17, home against the Steelers. And they end the season Week 18 against the Bengals.
They never play road games in consecutive weeks. They do have back-to-back road games once, but there's a bye in between.
Yes.
So they actually don't go on the road for consecutive weeks ever.
The first question I want to ask on this, and we got a couple of different questions with the schedule, but Tyvis, when you see that laid out 1 through 18, the question everyone wants to know is,
Where's the first win?
No, that's the second question they want to know. The more important question is, on the schedule, where do you see Shedeur Sanders and/or Dillon Gabriel making their first start?
That's the first question.
I mean, I didn't think that was on more with Jason.
Yeah.
But we're going to play
Terrible
your game. I would say after probably around Miami, that Miami game.
Well,
Pittsburgh, maybe not Pittsburgh, maybe the week after, which I think is Miami. I think that might be the sweet spot to get them in there, because if you put them against Pittsburgh, obviously, that's going to be a really good defense. It's going to be very difficult for a young quarterback to maneuver through that. But you go against the Dolphins, they still trying to figure some things out. You go against the Patriots, they still trying to figure some things out. Then you give them a bye. Like, that's 2 weeks of good football play, be able to study some stuff and be able to come back against the Jets. So I feel like that's kind of the sweet spot where we could see either the Shedeur or Dillon Gabriel. My thought it'd probably be Dillon Gabriel probably get first crack at it.
Well, it depends how they perform against each other in training camp in the preseason.
There's no way that they marching a 5th-round pick out there before the 3rd.
What if he's far better than him?
There's no way that they marching a 5th-round pick out there before the 3rd. I just don't see it.
That's not right.
I just don't see it.
Before the 3rd what?
Round pick.
Oh, I see.
He said there's no way they're going to give Shedeur a shot before Gabriel. That doesn't make any sense.
I just don't think it's going to happen.
If Shedeur outplays Dillon and Cam, why would he not be ahead?
I just don't think it's going to happen.
Well, then that's mismanagement. You think even if Shedeur outperforms him, he won't be given a chance first?
I don't think so.
Well, I hope you're wrong.
I hope I am too.
Terrible.
I hope
coaching.
I am too, but I just don't think so. How long did it take for Brock Purdy to get on the field?
I don't think very long.
Not that long.
But they gave it. Who was he 3rd string coming into that season?
I don't remember.
It was Jimmy.
Actually, it
Brock,
was long. It was a long time.
It was
It's 'cause
Trey.
Jimmy got hurt.
They got hurt.
Yeah, Trey, Jimmy, then Brock,
and Trey got hurt.
But
and Jason always points out Brock Purdy, the 7th-round pick, was the best
His
guy.
first start was week 13.
Yeah,
and that was bad. But Trey Lance they traded up for him, 1st-round pick. Dillon Gabriel was a late 3rd-round pick. It wasn't like he was a 1st-round pick.
Okay.
I mean,
You're paying him a lot of money. That's all I'm gonna say.
Who?
Well, not a lot of money, but you know.
You're not paying either of them a lot of money. How much money is Dillon Gabriel making? He's not making that
his
much.
signing bonus got to be somewhere around $800,000.
That's a lot of money in the NFL.
It's
That's
a
nothing.
3rd-round pick.
I disagree. Jason, you want to break the tie here? He thinks that
there's a lot of debates going on.
there's one debate, Jason.
But I thought we were doing when is one of them going to play. Now you've already decided. Now you're debating which one's going to play
He's saying
first.
Dillon Gabriel will definitely get the first shot because he was the higher pick no matter what.
I don't think that's true.
I better not be true.
Okay.
I don't think it's accurate. Now, if it's close, you're probably right. If it's not close,
I feel like they will be similar.
Jason, when do you think they get a chance to play? Then we'll get into the other parts
I
of the
think
schedule.
Tyvis is right about that.
Tyvis in the right range?
time frame, yes.
I would go earlier. Why not?
You gonna put him in against Pittsburgh?
Green Bay, Pittsburgh. I mean Baltimore. Since early,
You gonna put him in the fire?
you got 1 year to figure out what you have with these guys. You got 1 year.
Right. But like it or not, they're going to try to win to start the season, and they're going to think that playing one of the veterans is going to give them a better chance.
My
to win.
thing is, if
Now, they're not going to win because they're most likely going to go 0-4 to start the season. Maybe they go 1-3. You never know. But, I mean, based on projected win totals, the Browns have the hardest schedule weeks 1-4 in the NFL.
My thing is, I don't see the benefit of starting them the Packers week. There's so many times we talk about these quarterbacks coming in and they got in too early. You know, Bryce Young is the last example. Oh, he's in there so early and he just wasn't ready. He needed time to sit. So why would we go from knowing that these two guys, it's not like they were 1st-round picks. Why go from knowing that information? Why rush them in there
You're 100%
right away
right.
and not
You're
just give them a
100%
couple of weeks to get adjusted to an NFL schedule? Let them learn behind Joe or Kenny Pickett and stuff, and pick up tendencies and things like that.
You are
and
absolutely
then throw
right.
them in.
If life was fair, you would be absolutely right. But life's not fair, and they've got 1 year to evaluate two guys. You got 17 shots total to evaluate two guys before you have to make a decision. Are we going to hitch our trailer to one of these guys? or are we going to look at a quarterback next year?
Well,
so time
if that's the
is
case,
ticking.
then don't start one of them at the beginning of the year.
That's what I just said.
Why not? Why wait?
Let's go.
Throw them in the fire. Boom.
At
Maybe
Baltimore,
they
Sink
at
or
Baltimore,
swim.
week 2. There you go.
Sink or swim.
Get out there, Dylan.
No,
Maybe they will. I mean, we don't know how camp's going to go.
Hey,
We got a long time.
if one of them looks like they can handle it,
Do it.
do it.
Hey.
Absolutely.
You got 17. Like seriously, you have 17 games, and you're trying to evaluate 2 guys.
There's no, again, yes, playing them before they're ready is not ideal.
Of course
But
not.
if one of them shows that they are ready to play week 1, then why wouldn't you play them?
So let me ask you this. Let's say, for the sake of argument, let's say Shedeur gets the first crack.
Yeah.
And Shedeur goes out there and he does really well.
Yeah.
Would you ever play Dillon Gabriel?
No.
Really?
No.
Yes,
You
no.
wouldn't even put him out there?
No.
That's
Why would I?
crazy.
If Shedeur just kills
That's
it in training
crazy.
camp and he's killing it in the
You
preseason,
shake Dylan's hand and tell him congratulations. You're going to be the backup quarterback here for the next 5 years.
for that reason right there, Dillon Gabriel's going first. That's exactly
and, you know, I
why
agree.
Dillon
There-
Gabriel's going first.
There's merit to that. But what if Dylan goes out there and balls out?
and
Man.
Shedeur's never going to play.
Nah, it's too many people in. It's too many wrist up people. It's too many CU. It's too
Doesn't
many
matter.
CU aunties.
You don't
They'll
look-
be out there with picket signs. They gonna put Shedeur getting in the game at some point. This
If
I don't care
Dillon
what
gave-
you
if
say.
either one of them gets the opportunity to start and runs with it, why would you ever take them out?
You wouldn't. You wouldn't.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's
I don't
gonna be-
care.
it's
Bull,
the-
I'm on your side with this for the record.
Thank you. I mean, this is crazy.
we shall overcome.
Well, then you cut him. Then you cut him.
Oh, Shedeur?
Yeah.
You sick.
He's a 5th-round pick.
He ain't
You-
crazy.
And listen, I'm not
Well,
saying. I don't think Dylan Gabriel's going to go out there and throw.
I don't either, but I'm just saying.
Well, but you started with Shedeur. It doesn't matter. Either one of them. If they take the job and run with it, it's their job.
Yeah.
Until they prove it's not their job. Why would you? If Shedeur comes out there and he balls in those first 4 weeks,
Can
I'm
you
putting him
imagine
in.
benching Shedeur after like 4 phenomenal games and saying, "Well, we got to
gotta
look
see
at Dylan
Dillon Gabriel."
Well, you
That's insane.
can at least, like, depending on how the season ends, you can at least the last 1 or 2 games.
No.
Throw him out there.
Why would you do that? If Shedeur Sanders, in theory, had a great rookie season, I'm going to play Dillon. You know what Dillon Gabriel could do in the last 2 games if that's the case? Go sell nachos in the stands.
No,
'cause he's not
you know what he
playing
could
football.
do? You know what he could do? He could ball out and you could trade him for a 5th-round pick because Joe Milton just did it.
But
No.
you're not taking out the rookie who's
So
playing
trade him
well.
for a 5th-round pick
Hey,
anyway.
Drake May didn't play his last week, did he?
No.
That was different circumstances
Ow. How was it?
because they were intentionally trying to lose for a draft pick at that point.
Well, what's to say that? You talking like we going to the playoffs.
Hey, I've been saying all year.
You talking? Wait a minute. All of a sudden, we win his 10
Then
games
Fine,
this season?
Tyvis. If Shedeur has a great year and you know the Browns want to tank for a draft pick, then fine. Let's play Dillon Gabriel week 17.
That's a great outcome for us.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
do you want to play the guy you just took in the 3rd round?
Yeah.
Play him once and trade him for a 5th-round pick?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
that's a
great
big
value.
accomplishment.
Or do you want to keep him
Well,
as
if
the backup for the next 5 years?
Well, if Shedeur is that guy,
Dylan Gabriel's the backup for the next however many years.
And you got your quarterback room, extra cheap.
And then you have
clearly,
two high
clearly New
picks.
England could care less about that backup talk.
Well, that's how they
No,
operate.
you trade him. They'd probably trade him.
for
Whatever.
a 5th after just taking him in the
This is,
3rd?
Whatever.
this is
It doesn't even
it's
matter.
the Browns.
Where
They
did they get
love
Milton?
to.
But where did they get
6,
Milton?
something?
Guys, this
Okay.
idea, nobody keeps a backup for 5 years. No backups stay for 5. This idea of drafting backups, when does this happen?
Ask, I forget the dude's
Chase
name.
Daniels.
Thank you.
Chase bounce from team to team.
Who was the Mahomes backup in Kansas City?
Chad Haney.
But he was a veteran already,
Yes.
that guy. Nobody drafts a guy and then he sits as a backup for 5 years. When
I
does that
agree.
happen?
I agree with that.
That doesn't happen. So, whatever. Listen, these are good. If these things happen, that's
These are
unexpected.
these
Great
are
problem to
first world
have.
problems to have
Let
in the
Shedeur
NFL.
go out there and play great, and whatever happens with Dillon Gabriel is the least of our concerns.
I told you this was the number one question people were asking. when the
Apparently
schedule came
so.
out.
You got
I
us
told
worked
you.
up on that.
We're going to get into Jason's favorite part of the schedule
Yes.
now, and it's brought to us by Epicor. Every team, including the Browns, knows the value of hard work, of taking pride in what you build, and practicing every detail to get the best results. But no one player, no matter how amazing, can do it all alone. Working together makes getting the win easier. At Epicor, the all-stars are the hardworking manufacturers and distributors who create and deliver the things we all need, from aerospace to electrical to medical devices. Epicor ERP solutions are created by industry experts to help make every day easier. From small businesses with big dreams to growing enterprises with global visions, we'll equip you with the right tools to move forward, think ahead, and lead the way. Because as the clock ticks down, you need to make the most of every hardworking minute. Easier doesn't cut corners. Easier finds the lane. Discover your success at easierwithepicor.com. It is time to play the schedule game, ladies and gentlemen. Jason Lloyd intentionally tried to call out sick today.
I'm asking him.
I'd rather play the schedule game, honestly, than spend another minute talking about that awful Cavs team. I have no interest in talking about the Cavs.
So it is time.
I'm dreading our second hour
to
talking
play
about the Cavs. So let's do the
schedule game.
He's more worked up today than he was yesterday. He came in yesterday like they won a game.
I was chill.
Game by game. Ant's going to keep track, and we're going to figure out how many wins the Browns will have in 2025. Despite the fact we knew the opponents beforehand.
I was going to say, we couldn't figure this out before.
Yeah, but it matters who you play when and where.
It does.
Well, we didn't even talk about the schedule, Mike. Can't we do that before we get to the... Like, you just read the schedule. We didn't even discuss things about the schedule.
Well, I'm sure we're going to do that while we do the schedule.
What kind of crazy order do you have us going in here?
I have an order that the people want, Bull.
This makes no sense. We haven't even talked about the fact they have no primetime games because they have no primetime players.
We're going to get to all of that. I promise.
All right.
I promise.
McNuggets keep an eye on the chat while the show goes on.
Get the chat. It's 8 people in there talking
It's not the chat. I have not opened the chat once this show. I just know
I'm just
how
kidding
this
with
flows.
the chat. Go ahead.
All right, number 1, week 1, home against the Bengals. Is that a win or a loss?
I'm going to win. I'm going to say win. I'm going to go win.
The Bengals always get off to a bad start.
I'm gonna say
win. The Browns have had a level of
They're going back to Kevin's offense. Cincinnati still got a new defensive coordinator. They got to figure things out, how that scheme's going to be. Trey Hendrickson might sit out. Shamar Stewart might not sign, so they might not even have an edge rusher in that game. I'm going to go with the Browns.
Jason.
Oh, if I don't say win here, I don't know when I am going to say win. So I guess I guess I'll say win here.
I love that the Bengals, outside of the Browns, have a tough schedule to start the season because they have no excuse to get off to a bad start. They got to come bring it right away. I think after what happened last year, there's going to be no messing around. I'll say win for the Bengals.
The Ravens on the road, week 2.
It's a loss.
Loss.
We got to figure out our linebacker situation before we can talk about a win with there.
Week 3, back at home here in beautiful Cleveland against the Green Bay Packers.
My boy Half is the DC for the Packers. He used to coach for the Browns. He was the DB coach for the Browns back in the day. He going to take that game personally. I'm going to take the Jeff Halfley.
Oh, yeah.
He was the.
I know he's with the Packers.
He was here with Kyle. He's the DC. Remember, he left Boston College. He was the head coach at BC. Yeah. He left to go to the league because he didn't want to do NIL stuff no more.
I don't blame him.
Well, he's the DC for the Packers now. And I know he was here back when Kyle Shanahan was here. That he was like the DB coach. He said he loved his time here, but he's going to take that game personally. So I'm going to roll with the Packers.
He couldn't handle the heat of college football, so I'm going to take the Browns.
Jason?
Packers.
I'm going to take the Browns to win that game. Go ahead.
So Bull has them at 1-2. Jason has them at 1-2. And Tyvis has them at 1-2.
Yeah.
Week 4 on
Loss.
the road, Detroit.
They're going to get smoked in that game.
Loss.
49-0.
Oh, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
I'm exaggerating.
I would say they got a new OC, right? Who's their new OC?
They promoted their offensive line coach.
He's going to struggle. Brown's going to win.
Oh, my God.
Tyvis is taking...
In week 4?
Every year, there's a game that you win
Of
that
course.
you have no business winning, and there's a game you lose.
That would be a massive upset.
That's the one.
By the way, do you know the
they're
line?
going to win everybody over.
Today, if there was a line on that game, Browns are a 10-point dog at least in that game. You know the spread for week 1? Do you know it?
It's 4.5 or 5.5?
5.5.
5.5. Week 5 in London to take on the Vikings. The Vikings are there for 2 weeks. This is the second of their overseas games.
Yeah.
They played the Pittsburgh Steelers in Dublin the week prior. How do you see that game going, week 5?
They're going to win. J.J. McCarthy ain't going to be good enough.
Yeah, I don't know. You don't know what to expect with the Vikings. They were not supposed to be good last year.
Martin Emerson going to have a big game against Jay Jettis.
I'm gonna pick the Browns.
All right. I'll take
the Vikings are going to be sick of being there.
You woke up with a lot of optimism.
They're just
I'm rubbing off on you.
I'll take the Browns.
That might be it.
A clean sweep for the Browns. So through 5 games, Tyvis has the Browns at 3-2.
3-2.
That's
I think
it.
we're nuts at 2 and 3.
This is it.
And then it all goes to hell, huh?
And Bull have it at 2 and 3.
I
That's
think
the
even
hardest
you and I
part.
are being optimistic.
The hardest part of the schedule, and Tyvis has them at
All right.
3-2. Next week 6
Loss.
on the road.
At
Steelers.
Pittsburgh, that's a loss.
3 L's. Week 7 back home against the Dolphins.
When is that?
This one's tricky.
Week 7.
This is tricky.
It's October, right? Late October?
Late
October
October.
19th.
If Tua's healthy,
L.
they not gonna have Jalen Ramsey. Their defense ain't gonna be good.
I'm going to give the Browns a win in Week 7.
I think I might give them a win too.
L.
So Tyvis has him at 4 and 3.
You're
Jason has him at 2 and 5, and Bull has him at 3 and 4.
You know how
Week
great
8.
this show would be if they 4 and 3 right there.
Hey.
That would be.
We'd be so happy coming in here to talk.
One of the dilemmas is if they're 4 and 3 and Flacco's the starter and playing well,
Then you keep playing them.
there's going to.
There's no discussion.
You think so? There's no discussion with that?
Of course not. You're 4 and 3. You don't give up on the season.
Well, this was the organization that benched Brian Hoyer for Johnny Manziel when they were in the playoff race. Just want to point that out.
True.
Yes.
That was stupid.
We're going to see the wrist up at some point.
I mean, I'm just telling you. They've done it
I'm
before.
aware.
Week 8 at New England. Last game before the bye.
Loss. Patriots going to be better this year.
L.
It's on the road.
I think I
I
might.
do it.
Don't McNuggets, don't try to
I'm
put
going to
me
start
on the
calling you
spot.
G.
Don't try to put me on the spot.
what Garrett would do.
I'm going to say, they got.
Gary will have 14 or 3 by the end of this.
Listen, I am going to say, L, go Bucks. Shout out to Braves.
All right, week 9 bye. Week 10 at the Jets, taking on Justin Fields.
Don't put me in a spot like that.
Oh, boy.
They will win that game.
L.
What?
L.
I think they're going to lose every road game this year.
All right, next up,
That's
week
fair.
11. Home versus the Ravens.
L.
Loss.
The linebacker play should be better by the end. The linebacker play should be better. You got 10 weeks of film to study so you know exactly what they're doing. Although Lamar is very difficult to contain, I'm going to say close loss. They're going to lose, but it's going to be very close.
Okay.
All right, next week, they lost to the Raiders in Vegas last
They ain't
season.
losing to the Raiders.
Will they redeem
Pete
themselves
Carroll
in
is
week
the coach.
12?
They ain't got enough. The Raiders ain't got enough. I'm going with a dub for the Browns.
Loss.
That's it.
Where do I have them at?
2 wins right now.
That's pathetic. And you know you wrong. That's why you sit there and contradicted it.
What? Vegas has them at like 4.5.
Who cares what Vegas thinks? So give them a win in Vegas.
All right, fine, win.
Thank you.
Because I
Did you
think
say
they'll I
win
think
or
they'll
loss?
I think
Loss.
they'll win the Jets or the Raiders. They're not winning both. I think they'll win one of those.
All right, back-to-back home games here. The 49ers at home.
Loss.
Remember, this was the game, the infamous P.J. Walker game from 2 years ago.
Well, Phillip isn't on the roster no more. If he was, it'd be
The
easy.
sun
dub.
doesn't shine on a dog's ass twice. So let's go.
L.
That's a loss.
Tyvis?
They lost a lot this year. As far as they lost Debo gone, CMC's coming back. Defensively, they don't have any corners, do they? They let Charvarius Ward go. Is Robert Saleh back to DC there? I
He
think he
is.
is. I'm gonna say win. I'm gonna say loss for the Browns.
He won't be getting shoved by Aaron Rodgers this year.
All right, the Titans, the battle of the first and what could have been the second picks, Cam Ward.
I'll give the Browns a win there.
I'm giving the Browns a win also. Cam Ward on bust alert.
Being at home.
Dang,
Tyvis, make it 3
that's a win.
That's
yeah.
harsh. That's harsh, but go ahead.
Week 15 at Chicago.
Loss.
This is gonna be the shocking win right here. They gonna win that one. It's gonna be very shocking.
Every year the Bears get overhyped. I heard somebody else today saying Might have been Brian Hoyer on NFL radio saying, I think the Bears are going to be a lot better. I think
It's at
people say that about the Bears
Chicago.
every year.
Well, you just took them to beat the Browns.
Well, it's the Browns. You know.
Jason, what'd you take?
At
Winner-
Chicago, week 15, if Nick Chubb is a part of that team, the Bears will win that game. If he's not a part of that team, the Browns will win that game.
Well, Tyvis, I need an
You need a
answer.
pick.
Yeah.
Let's go get off the fence there, buddy.
Win.
Let me help you out.
Win.
L.
Win.
All right, 3 more. As
It's a
of right
first
now,
time
with 3
head
games
coach.
to go,
He's going to struggle.
with 3 games to go, Jason and Bull both have the Browns with 4 wins. Tyvis has 8.
8?
Twice as many.
Oh, wow.
All right, week 16, Steve, last 3 games. Versus the
L.
Bills at home.
I got all losses last 3.
I all losses. I got them all lost. Well,
You got one more Browns win?
Give me week 18 at Cincy.
You think they're going to sweep the Bengals
all
and
losses.
only win 5 games?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Bengals just sitting everybody. Week 18.
Oh, you think
What did
so?
you say for the first week?
Win. Because I wasn't
So they
sure how
gonna
many I was
s-
going to
okay,
give them.
okay.
So what do I have? 5 because I'm the optimist. Bull's the pessimist.
Yes, so this ends with Tyvis predicting the Browns to go 8-9 this season.
Correct. That's what I
And
said.
they
Jason
will be
Lloyd.
8-6 with a shot. They'll be in the hunt at 8-6.
Jason Lloyd had the Browns at 5-12,
That's about right.
which is half a game over the Vegas win total. And Bull has them half a game under
Yeah,
the win total at 4-13.
You're so negative.
I am. You know what's funny? This morning,
I was expecting him to have the lowest record, not you.
This was funny because this morning I'm like, maybe the Browns will win a little more
Than you
than
think?
I thought. Like, because
Hey,
last
nah.
year, everybody else had them with more wins than me. I had them with the least amount of wins, and I, while still way off, was the closest.
Yeah.
And I was like, it might be the highest this year. And then I don't know. I think they'll win 4 or 5 games.
So, Bull, we're going to get into the rest of the schedule now.
Yeah.
After you tell us
I mean, what else do we
about
have to
Menu
say
RX.
at this point?
I have questions.
I
for
have
you.
plenty to say about Menu RX. Menu RX is great if you are looking to lose weight, if you're looking to get in better shape, if you're looking to improve your fitness, your nutrition. When you deal with Menu RX, you deal with nutritionists, scientists who study weight loss, who study nutrition, who study the body, and it's not a big box weight loss center that tells you to eat a certain amount of points and then sends you on your way, asks you to buy their food and they're this and they're that. That's nonsense. That's not really helping people. At Menu RX, Dr. Jake May and the group there, they will really help you. One-on-one consultations, diet plans made specifically for you and your body. So for more information, go to menu-rx.com. Could be covered by health insurance. Definitely use HSA and FSA payments. Check them out now. Tell them Adam the Bull sent you. Menu-rx.com.
All right, Bull, we're going to wrap up our schedule talk here.
Yeah.
No primetime games for the Browns.
None.
One of 3 teams in the NFL to not get a single primetime game, joining the Titans and the New Orleans Saints. All 1 o'clock kickoffs except for the 9:30 London kickoff.
I love it.
A 4:05 kickoff
2 back-to-back
against
4 o'clock games.
and a 4 o'clock kickoff.
One
the
at
week
home,
after.
one on the road, I think.
He said, I
Correct.
love it.
I love that there's no night games because, we don't have to work at
I'm
midnight.
home in time to watch the Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
Same.
I went through the.
Yeah, I
always
am
go-
actually.
I always go through the schedule to see how many times the Bengals and Browns are playing at the same time.
Yeah.
Not including when they play each other. Last year it was like only 2 or 3, which was the best. This year it's 5.
If the Browns are
unfortunately.
going to be 4-13, like you say.
Yeah.
We need to roll the post game show. Just come on,
Roll it.
Let's don't even
Roll it.
I already booked my flight to Baltimore. I booked it yesterday.
Oh, really?
Because it's one of the few cities I can fly in the morning and fly out that night. I don't even stay over. There's a 5 a.m. flight to Baltimore, 6 a.m. flight. Get there in plenty of time.
Not groggy from the flight, huh?
Nah, I'll sleep on the plane. I'm asleep before the plane takes off.
That's nice.
And then I fly out of Baltimore at like 10, 11 o'clock that night. It's beautiful.
Is that a 4 o'clock game or a 1 o'clock game? That
1
day?
o'clock.
Is that
Okay.
the,
They're
that's the
all 1
only one
o'clocks.
that you could do
Except
that
for
for?
the 2 later in the season.
I did that
but I'm
with Houston.
saying. Oh, those are
one
late
year.
in the season.
I flew to
right.
Houston.
It's weeks like 12 and 13.
Rolled in
Like a
at
2-hour
kickoff.
flight, right?
I love the 9:30 Browns game, man. That's really
that's
good.
incredible.
Get it over with.
Yeah.
Do you think teams should have at least one primetime game in a season, or are you okay
No.
with the NFL?
I'm shocked they don't have a
Giving teams a
Thursday
couple
nighter.
months.
You know
I
what?
don't think every team should have an all-star, let alone a prime time
I
game.
actually,
I thought every team got a Thursday night
when they
game.
first
It was
launched
changed
them,
when they
did.
started flexing games.
Yeah, yeah. I do think each team should get a Thursday night game.
Why?
Just so that NFL fans can see every team once if they want.
Who?
I mean,
first of all,
it's Thursday night. Who cares?
yeah, but you know what? Fans can see nowadays.
what they
If you got to pay for it.
This is what they
Yeah.
want to see.
A lot of people can't pay for. Can't
No,
afford.
outside of unless Shedeur Sanders plays. Nobody
they gonna get flexed into a
Nobody
Browns
outside of
zone.
Browns fans cares
No,
to
you're
watch
probably
the
right.
Browns.
I just think it's a nice opportunity
Yeah.
for fans who can't afford Sunday ticket to be able
Yeah.
to see every team at least once.
I'm surprised the Titans with the first overall pick quarterback don't. I know they sucked last year. I thought they'd have one primetime game. The Saints are the most nondescript team.
Yeah.
They have nothing.
Yeah.
Do the Browns finish with more wins than the Saints?
I haven't seen the Saints' schedule. They'll probably be around this. I mean, who's going to start a quarterback for the Saints?
Tyler S.
Tyler
You
Shuck.
really think he's going to start?
Who else do they have?
I'm about to say, I don't know who
The other
that
quarterbacks
Spencer
are
Rattler?
Spence,
Jake
dude.
Hayner and Spencer Rattler.
Tyler Shuck.
All right.
They gonna throw him right out there.
I mean, he's 37 years old. If he's not ready now, when's he going to be ready?
Fair
that's
enough.
fair.
So they're going to be terrible.
What if he's good? What round did he go? Third,
40th pick, second round.
second round.
What do they got? Like, they got Kamara still.
You know who they
Still have
got.
Chris Olave.
Come on, go
Oh,
Bucks.
Olave, I forgot
Go
about him.
Bucks.
He's been a bit of a disappointment
He
so
had
far.
didn't he get hurt last year? He had 1,000 yards.
I mean,
almost
to
every
be
year.
fair to him, they've had pretty terrible quarterback play there.
Did you guys watch the Browns schedule release video?
No.
I
Did you
didn't
play it or no?
I didn't understand it.
We
I
can
don't
play
get
it
it.
without sound. Give
don't
me a
get-
second. I'll pull it up. But the sound got us.
the schedule release videos have jumped the shark,
I agree.
right? I mean, last year there were some really funny ones, and now it's like
I
totally
saw
The Titans have still had the best one of all. Was it the Titans?
that was when they interviewed fans.
Yeah, when they did the fans.
Was it the Titans? I thought it was the Rams. Was it the Titans?
No, it was
think
the
it was the
Titans that did
Titans.
the
Yeah.
interviews on the TikTok. Name this
That
mascot.
was really funny.
That
There's
was
a
the
couple
best
good
one.
ones. The Chargers had a couple good ones over the years. They had a Minecraft one that
But
was good.
The,
What-
the
what-
Dolphins already pulled theirs down, and
what?
the Colts.
The Colts.
Colts.
What did they say
What
about
did
Tyreek
they,
Hill?
What did they do?
They had Tyreek Hill getting arrested by the Coast Guard.
in the water.
Why did they owe him an apology for that? He got arrested by the Coast Guard.
I mean,
Didn't he?
no, he got arrested by Miami-Dade police. They pulled him out of the car.
Okay, so why would they have to
I
apologize?
mean, it's in poor taste.
It's in poor taste, but they don't owe him an apology. But it is in poor
I mean,
taste.
you're all in the same league. It's not.
The guy didn't he beat up his pregnant girlfriend? I mean,
Wait
But
a
that
minute.
has nothing to do
Wait
with
a minute. They
Yeah.
So they seen the video
Yeah.
first, okayed it,
Yeah. No,
I'm
put it
sure-
out there.
I highly doubt that the GM is. Maybe they are. Maybe they are reviewing the.
Is Chris Ballard still
did you
the,
see the
GM?
Browns put out a tweet for every week, and with the next to the Steelers logo, they had a dumpster fire.
Yeah, that was silly.
I mean,
That
how
was silly.
dumb can you be? How tone deaf can one franchise be?
So it-
you're going to call the Steelers a dumpster fire?
The team that goes to playoffs every year.
So in
Holy
case
moly.
anyone missed it, there's no sound on this.
Yeah.
We'll be able to talk over as it's
All
going
right,
through.
go ahead.
But
Let's
we got
see
dinged
it.
for the sound on the post-game reaction last
Really?
night, so we're not going to play the sound. So we're going to show you the video. And let me just preface this. If you don't understand what you're watching, join the club.
I have no
I
idea.
I
have
don't
no
get it.
clue what they were going
I
for,
w-
and of all the schedule release videos, I think this was the worst.
I
This is
watched.
the-
I got about halfway through it last night, and I shut it off because I didn't.
I
understand
genuinely
it.
I
have
didn't
no
get
Is,
it.
idea.
there is the sound is there much?
No.
It's
No.
like a Stranger Things kind of soundtrack.
Okay, Stranger Things
So
soundtrack.
think that tone.
Okay,
This is
all right.
Steve. Take it. This is the Browns schedule release video, and feel free to talk over it because, like I said, there is no sound. I want live play-by-play
All
here.
right,
Bull.
so we got the elf. We're off to a little bit of weird. What is happening?
That's the
Have they
point.
started the schedule yet?
Yes, the drop was the Dolphins. The bear is the Bills. The
What?
cheese is the Packers.
It's
I see.
Ravens eggs.
The
for week
Ravens
2.
egg in week 2.
Wait, we're in week 2?
It jumps.
None
It
of
jumps
this
all
makes
over.
sense. I'm telling you, this is terrible. None of it makes sense.
I figured they were trying to cater to an audience that I don't fit because I didn't.
I thought the
I thought
same
there was like
thing.
some viral something that
What
I'm
is
not
this?
aware of.
What is the spaghetti?
I don't know.
Skyline chili.
Oh,
But are they going out of order? Why are
Yeah.
they going out of order?
That's what
No one knows.
that's-
Bull. Once again,
You
none
see-
of this this is horrific.
this is where I shut it off. When they used the terrible towel, I was like, okay. So I shut it off right here. So I don't know what comes after.
What?
funny 'cause
Somebody explain.
Your
somebody
reaction
out
is
there watching
exactly
has to
how
know.
we said. Everybody looked at this like, what is this?
Somebody has to know what this is. Like
If
somebody.
anyone in the
please
chat knows
explain.
what this is, please tell me.
Wait a second.
I want to know too.
The
'cause
Browns did not put this out. This is
Yes.
somebody else.
No,
No, this is the
Did you
legitimate
see
This is
Browns.
the
Cleveland
Browns schedule
Browns?
release video.
What is this? What is happening?
That's what we.
That's it.
What is that?
That's it. There you go.
I'm pissed. You know who I'm pissed off at right now? I'm pissed off at Steve Becker, and I'm pissed off at Adam, whose last name I can't think of right now.
Ostro?
Adam Ostro, because I can't curse right now. Because that demands cursing. So shame on you guys for the fact that I can't drop F-bombs right now.
Hold on. We could kill your mic and you can curse and no one will hear.
No, that's all right.
All right, never mind.
All right,
Well,
let
don't do
me
it.
tell you something.
Killers
That was the stupidest thing I ever saw, and that video sums up the Cleveland Brown franchise.
4-13,
because
huh?
they think for years this franchise, led by idiots, has thought they were smarter than everybody else in the room, and this is what they come. The son-in-law is supposed to be a TV guy, isn't he, Jason? Wasn't he a TV guy? He asked me to be in some some reality show once many years ago.
They do
Which
stuff.
is why I don't like him.
They do TV production stuff.
They do TV production stuff, and these idiots, this is the best they could come up with? What the hell was that? That is the stupidest effing video in the history of videos. I think they should consider ending YouTube because of that video. What the hell is that?
That's what we was trying to
I
tell.
have no idea what's going on.
What we tried to tell
I'm
you.
guessing it's some viral something or other that we're just too old and
So
uncool to
somebody
know
just
about.
Is that
tweeted
still
at me-
Minecraft? I mean,
No, it's not Minecraft. Someone just tweeted at me
Yeah.
the video that it is.
yeah.
It's from 3 years ago called Playing with Time, and it is a remake of that video. I'll be honest, and it's a remake. I'm showing Ant right now. It's
Yeah.
a remake of that video.
It's from 3 years
Do
ago.
you think? Do
From
you
3
think?
years ago. I'll send you guys the link. You can
Do
watch
you
it.
think that the guy?
Did we have a good
who
season
on
3
earth would
seasons
get?
ago?
Who on earth would get that reference?
It's because they saying like we won a playoff game or three seasons.
That wasn't 3 years ago.
Was it not?
It was 2023. That was 2 years ago. That's when not won a playoff game. They won a playoff game in 2020 in the COVID year. That's the last time they won a playoff game. All right,
I
keep
don't know.
fishing. The Browns
I
are the dumbest organization ever. Whoever's in charge of their social media team should be fired. No offense.
Dang.
That's really mean to say.
That's
Firing
messed
people.
up.
I gotta fire the guy.
That's messed up.
You know, I want to know. Here's what I want to know: the guy who wears the elf costume, or the girl who wears the elf costume, did he consider jumping off a bridge instead of doing that? I mean, because that is the worst piece of crap I've ever seen in my life. What is going on inside that real brain in that costume? He's like, what the F did I get
You know
into?
So
what,
it is
they-
literally a shot-for-shot remake of a viral video from 3 years ago that I didn't know existed
Well,
until
show-
AJ
He
Jimenez.
said- he-
Can you
Oh
show
my
the video
God.
from 3 years
Emailed
ago?
I just emailed it to you guys.
Well, can't you show it?
I have to
no.
download it if
I
Steven
mean-
comes in quick enough.
Oh, all right.
This is the most obscure
Why did they do this?
reference I have ever seen. You emailed?
I did email it to you, yeah.
Oh my God.
Well,
me see
it's
this.
not going to be a compelling show for us
It's
to be
not,
watching.
but I feel like I've come this far down the road. You guys got to talk for a minute.
I'm downloading it from YouTube right now.
I have
so
to
we'll
watch
see it.
this. I got to get through a Hims ad first. Every 10 seconds, a Hims ad on YouTube.
This is absurd.
I have to watch this. I can't move on until I watch what. I have to know what video they had to copy.
Who is the guy that did it? Is it like a famous magician?
It's
or
called
Oh,
something?
Macro Room. I've never. It's fit. No, turn the sound off. Well, that's what we got in trouble for.
Okay, sorry. Why would you get in trouble for it?
Because it's copyright for the sound.
My God. So did he drop a cookie and a cup of coffee on there? That was the chili thing?
I guess.
But again, is it like a famous magician or anything? Do you
I
who
don't
this
know.
guy
I don't
is?
think so. I have no idea who this guy is. Marco's room?
Macro.
Room? I can't watch any more of this. The Browns.
It's gonna take three.
The Browns have just solidified their status as the stupidest. The Colorado Rockies had really been pushing to knock the Browns out of dumbest franchise in sports. And right now, we're going live. I got a call I got a call from a reporter I sent to the Rockies front office. He's reporting they're celebrating. They're having a party that the Browns have regained. Have they? The Rockies are acknowledging this. The Browns have regained the title as stupidest franchise in the history of professional sports. All right, tell the Rockies congrats. They'll get back in the mix in a few weeks when they lose another 32 games in a row. All right, I'll see you later. Unbelievable. Stupidest franchise. They've won the title. They've regained it.
Over a schedule release video, that's how you're going to crown
in addition
them?
to everything else. But this is just, I mean, come on.
I
feel better about my 4-win prediction because these idiots made a video based on some obscure reference from 3 years ago.
Is this something
People can't remember. Something comes out in the media yesterday. People forget the next day. We're supposed to remember some obscure freaking video from 3 years ago to understand what the hell they're doing in this schedule. I have to meet the person. Please. Mike, if you get anything accomplished the rest of your life, I have to meet the person that came up with this idea and thought it was good. I want to know, like, was it a Make-A-Wish situation to make this video? No, that's insulting to the Make-A-Wish kids. I don't know. Oh, my God, that was so stupid. When Jason said that he couldn't understand it, in my mind I was thinking, Jason's an old curmudgeon. I'll get it.
Thanks.
I said the same thing.
And he thought he said right.
And I didn't get it either.
Tyvis is the hippest guy here. He don't know what's going on.
Yeah, when that
I ain't
video,
that old. I'm younger than you.
You are.
when that video went viral, I must have missed it, and I don't even understand why it went viral. What's so good about it?
Did it really go viral?
It
It's
had,
26 million views on YouTube, so yeah.
It was 3 years ago. How many things have gone viral since that?
A lot.
I mean, come on.
We could have done 100. There's a million things they could have done. That one, I'm at a loss for words with you, Bull. I'm with you, man.
Oh, my God.
I don't know. Shout out to AJ Jimenez for sending us the comparison.
Thank you, AJ.
Thank you, AJ.
Oh, I wonder what Jimmy Haslam's reaction was watching that video. I want to know.
All
He's busy looking at Giannis trades right now. He can't worry about.
let us move on here, guys. Try to recompose ourselves. The NBA playoffs are still in full swing. Every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout play, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, same-game parlays, fans in more ways than ever to play smart and win big. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com/UCSS and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. I'm going to put up a poll in the chat and see if we have over 2,000 people watching right now, Bull.
Wow.
I'm going to see how many of them have ever heard of that video prior and had any idea what that was in reference to. And while I'm doing that, I am curious to hear your guys' thoughts. And I want to start with Tyvis because he wasn't here yesterday. But we have had an entire day, over 36 hours to digest the Cavaliers' Game 5 loss, their series-ending loss to the Pacers. And in totality, Tyvis, if we are divvying up the blame pie and handing out pieces of the blame pie here.
What flavor is the blame pie?
The blame pie.
It's a real pie. And Tyvis, you are
Blame
slicing
pie
it
might
up.
be Cincinnati chili.
Tyvis,
Flavor.
who are you putting the most blame on for the Cavaliers playoff flameout?
So I'm guessing I got 100%. So I'd say Jarrett has 30%. I give him about 30, 35, right? Evan, I give Evan. It's really not his fault because he got hurt. So but he played so I can't really blame him. Darius got hurt too, so it's hard to blame him. But when he played, he wasn't that great. I'll give him 15%. Kenny Atkinson, I will give Kenny. I give Kenny about half of it. I give him half of it. What would that put me at?
You might be over 100.
No.
90.
You might need a
I'm
second
at 90.
pie.
I'm at 90.
You might need a second pie.
10%. Flip this. Flip it. give me 15% for Ty Jerome.
Yeah.
10% for Darius. That's my 100%.
Guys, before I answer this question, and I really don't want to answer this question, but let me tell you why it's even more embarrassing that the Cavs are the softest, most pathetic team in the NBA. I'm going all in on everybody today. I love the Guardians, though. Go Guards, even though you lost yesterday. Did anybody watch the Boston Celtics and the Knicks last night?
Yep. Sure did.
How'd they play without Jason Tatum and Porzingis? Why does Porzingis not play at all, by the way, anymore? Mike or Jason, do you know?
According to you, he's soft because he has an injury.
Nobody's playing, but he barely plays.
Yeah, because he's soft because he has an injury.
Okay.
According to your thought process.
So, So, Jason Tatum and Tatum's out. Porzingis barely played. How'd the Celtics do yesterday at home?
They won.
They won.
Won? They destroyed the Knicks in the second half. It was a tie game at halftime, and they destroyed them in the second half.
They shot a lot of threes and made them.
Okay, so does every other team in the NBA. Everybody plays the exact same way. I mean,
the Cavs did not shoot well.
Okay.
What was it, 30%?
By the way, we all know that if the Celtics win in New York, which I don't think they're going to, I don't know what you guys think. I think the Knicks are going to win. But if the Celtics win in New York, the series is over because there's no way the Knicks are going to win in Game 7 in Boston. No chance if they tie that series up. You have one team, championship medal. They're going to, and maybe they go down tomorrow, whatever Game 6 is for them. I don't know.
It's Friday night.
Without their best player and their third best player barely playing, they kick the crap out of a Knicks team that's completely healthy.
Fourth best player, but
Porzingis is their fourth best player?
Yes.
Who's third?
Derek White.
Derek White's better than Porzingis?
I mean, the man was on the Olympic team.
I don't know if
I would take
Porzingis.
I would take Derek White.
Okay, even if you're right, fourth best player is not playing. Best player out. And they kick. What did they do? All the other guys stepped up. What did the Cavs do? Nothing. Nobody stepped up. Nobody helped Donovan. Mobley was fine. Max Strus, garbage in the closing game. He did a lot of talking before the game.
Well, but what about the first 5 games?
I don't care.
What do you mean
First
you don't
4
care?
Games. I don't care. You had to win that game to keep your season alive.
He did.
And he no-showed.
For 5 games, he showed. He's the only one that showed up.
I agree with you. Did he show up in the 5th game?
Man, we only win 5 games. Damn,
Yes.
That's a shame.
Did he show up in that game, Tyvis?
No, he did not.
Did Ty Jerome show up in that game?
He had 6 points, didn't he?
He had 8 points in 11 minutes. How much more could you possibly ask for someone in Game 5?
The only reason he played 11 minutes is because he sucked the whole series or he would have played more.
You just said the other games don't matter. All you say Game 5 is all that matters. Did Ty Jerome show up in Game 5?
Kudos to Ty Jerome. We wanted him to win 6th Man of the Year. He had 8 points. Now he's a superstar. Great. Did Darius show up for that game? I'll give Darius
How many points did Darius
I'll give Darius a little bit of a pass. You could tell he was effed up.
Fighting through it. Yeah.
He was effed up. I'll give him a little bit of a pass.
I gave Darius.
What did Jared Allen do in that game? What did all these bench guys, these useless guys like Okoro and Dean Wade?
Well, I mean, they wasn't giving you nothing anyways.
I mean, jeez.
They didn't give you nothing anyways, so you can't.
You might as well replace Dean Wade. You know how when they practice in the NBA sometimes? I think they do this. They'll be like some short, fat guy like me standing there with a broom, right?
It's not a broom anymore, but it's a.
Dean Wade is basically, you can replace him with that broom. He does nothing. All he does is get some rebounds, and then Mike pretends he's, the analytics tell you he's a great player. He sucks.
With him in the lineup, they was like really good.
Wait a minute.
He was a no-show in the.
Go ahead.
No,
yell at anything I want to.
No.
I
You just
care.
reminded me of something.
Yeah.
I was in the yard working. What day was that, Mike? The day of the game.
You was in the yard working?
Tuesday.
Yeah.
I was pulling weeds.
Jason pulling
Look at
weeds.
Jason.
And I thought, you know what? I'm going to put the show on.
Yeah.
I turned the show on, and the first thing I hear is you saying,
Yeah.
offensive rating's stupid. It doesn't matter.
Oh, that was Tuesday. I was here for that.
If you don't look at offensive rating, then
Yeah.
you can't look at strikeouts.
No.
per 9 innings, 'cause
He
it's the
was
same
what he
thing.
said. What he
That's
was
not what I
saying
said.
was that the Cavs had this unbelievable, the second most in the history. Was it first?
Second highest ever.
Second highest ever.
Yeah.
And he said like that was meaningless.
Here's my point.
Offensive rating is the most standardized stat you can have. Points per 100 possessions.
Jason, any stat that says the Cavs are the best offensive team in the history of basketball cannot be right.
Well, do you understand
It's
that
completely fraudulent.
the game has changed dramatically
Exactly.
over the last 10 years?
I understand that, and it's
not the stats' fault.
The stat
It's the game's fault.
okay, fine, but that you can't. You can't tell me that this Cavs offense is an all-time great offense.
Who was number?
Come on,
Who was
that's
number,
absurd.
I forgot
Use
who
your
the
eyes.
Nuggets said was number one. If it wasn't the Warriors with KD,
The 2017 Warriors is the best offense.
Okay, if that ain't
best offense
all
I've ever
right,
seen.
so all right.
Again, the game has changed even since then.
That's right.
Is OKC's defense the best
and
defense
they haven't
you've
adjusted
ever
the
seen?
stat.
No.
But
I don't want to hear about analytics.
But-
Here's the only analytic I need. And you know me, I'm pro analytics. Here's the only analytic I need. The Cavs suck. That's it. They suck. They're a joke.
Why? Why do you think?
What do you mean why? What did they do?
They went to
the regular season meant nothing.
They went to the playoffs. They
went to the playoffs. They beat a team that was 10 games under 500. The Miami Heat are a joke. Only in the embarrassing NBA could a team 10 games under 500. What other sport does a team 10 games under 500 make the playoffs? Only basketball.
Bull.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me that injuries don't mean anything to you?
I saw the Boston Celtics kick the Knicks' ass last night.
But that's one player.
Not one player. Porzingis is hurt and Tatum was out.
At least he's
Two of their 4 best players. They kicked the Knicks' ass last night.
But are you suggesting the Cavs did not give enough effort in Game 5? Is that what you're suggesting?
I'm not saying they didn't give enough effort. They gave plenty of effort. They didn't play well enough.
Yeah, they missed every shot.
Okay, so what do we just say? If they lose and miss shots, they can't be criticized for that? You got to make shots.
I was just asking you to clarify your point. It sounds like you're comparing their effort to what Boston did yesterday.
No, I didn't say anything about effort. I said the Celtics kicked ass with it dealing with injuries, and the Cavs fell on their ass dealing with injuries. That's a fact. You can't deny that. And they gave no effort in Game 4. None.
Yeah,
Zero.
That game's the one that still is.
Zero. What, I'm supposed to laud them for giving effort in Game 5? A team that would talk all-time offense, #1 offensive rating.
I hear what you're saying,
Yeah.
but like a little bit of it is a little flawed to me because Jason Tatum is out, but they still got Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Porzingis, and Drew Holiday's.
Porzingis is hurt.
Yeah,
we supposedly had all these good players.
Yeah, but no, but we didn't have Evan.
We had our best player.
We was without Evan, Darius.
You were without Evan for
and
one
Hunter.
game.
It was 2.
No,
it was one.
Evan
game.
missed
No,
one.
Evan and Hunter missed one.
They missed Game 2.
Darius missed 2 in this
All
series.
three of them
Okay.
missed Game 2.
All right, let me tell you something else. The one game, that game when all 3 didn't play, they had a 20-point lead.
Now I ain't got nothing to say
And they
about
had a
that.
7-point lead
I
with
ain't got
48
nothing to
seconds
say.
to go.
I ain't got nothing to say about that.
I don't want to hear nothing about injuries in Game 2. They had a 7-point lead with
all
48
I'm
seconds
saying,
to go, and they shot down their leg.
That is true. I'm not
Yes.
disagreeing with that. But we're not going to sit here and act like, that would be like if Donovan was out, but everybody else was good to go. Like, all right, then you could compare it to Boston.
Right.
But it was like 2, 3, and maybe the
That was
4th best
one game,
offensive
though,
guy. It
Tyvis.
was like they not 100%.
Nobody's 100%. Evan Mobley and I don't know what status they are. Evan Mobley and DeAndre Hunter looked perfectly fine those games when they came back. Did they not? Am I crazy?
They looked good enough.
I mean, they're good enough.
They look
It's
good
the
enough.
NBA. You're playing 1,000 games. They're all tired. They're all hurt. Donovan was hurt. He still kicked ass in all these games.
Donovan, the reason why they lost 2 of them. Personally,
Well,
he missed some
No.
pivotal free throws.
Okay, yes.
He
First of
missed
all,
some pivotal free
that may be
throws.
true. But when you're asked to put a piano on your back for an entire series, eventually you're going to collapse there, Tyvis. Sorry if you didn't make the free throws.
But like, come on now.
When he's got no
in
help.
those moments, you got to have it.
I hear you. I don't disagree. You can criticize him for those moments. That's fair. But he had to carry the team the whole thing because everybody else was doing
fair.
nothing.
That's
We got
fair.
another voice to add to this conversation, so let's bring in our,
All right,
our
let's bring
Cavaliers
Danny
guest
Cunningham.
here. Danny Cunningham's brought to us by Epicor. Every team knows the value of hard work, of taking pride in what you build, in practicing every detail to get the best results. But no one player, no matter how amazing, can do it all alone. Working together makes getting the win easier. At Epicor, the All-Stars are the hardworking manufacturers and distributors who create and deliver the things we all need, from aerospace to electrical to medical devices, from small businesses with big dreams to growing enterprises with global vision. We'll equip you with the right tools to move forward, think ahead, and lead the way, because as the clock ticks down, you need to make the most out of every hardworking minute. Easier doesn't cut corners, easier finds the lane. Discover your success at easierwithepicor.com. That is easierwithepicor.com. Danny Cunningham, host of the Locked On Cavs podcast, joining us now. And Danny, you are walking into a firestorm, and you
Go
can
ahead.
take
That's
it
what I've
whatever
heard.
direction you want to take
You got a
it.
beef with anything I said? Go ahead. Take
No,
your
I
shot.
mean, I think like the injuries are part of the conversation, but
Of course.
ultimately this is a epic failure. Like it's a colossal failure for the Cavs, considering what their expectations were, how good they were during the regular season. I don't know how this can be phrased as anything other than a complete failure and a missed opportunity
The
too.
players told you that.
Yeah, well, and I think that is. I mean, there's nothing good that comes of this, but the players have said that. Kenny Atkinson said that. I think it's important. Like, if you want to get past this at a certain point, I think you need to recognize it. You need to own it. You need to understand that you're going to be called the 2015 Atlanta Hawks for the next 12 months until you get past this point. That's what you're going to be called. I think understanding that, recognizing, and kind of embracing it's probably a good first step. A lot of steps you still got to take, but it's probably a good first step.
I think
You
it
know
looks.
hang on.
Go ahead,
You know
yes.
what's funny about that? About the 2015 Hawks? I've been like defending the 2015 Hawks for. I have. That was a really good friggin' team that lost to one of the greatest to ever play the game in the
Right.
conference finals.
This is even worse.
It is.
Yeah.
But like everyone's like, oh, the Hawks. The Hawks went to the conference finals and lost to
So-
LeBron.
Yeah,
I think
true.
I think that's an interesting way to phrase it, because like that Hawks team in the regular season they won 60 games, but like and you were talking about advanced metrics before.
Yeah.
They were like the second worst ever 60 win team by a lot of the advanced metrics that said like they weren't elite at anything. They were just good and won a bunch of close games. Where the Cavs had this elite offense. They were the number 2 offense of all time, and that's what disappeared. So I do think that like it's an interesting conversation to have, and there are obviously some similarities considering Kenny Atkinson was on that coaching staff in Atlanta. DeMarre Carroll, who's on the staff with the Cavs now, was a starter for that Hawks team. He was the only starter that was not an all-star on that Hawks team, because 4 of those guys made the all-star team.
Yeah.
Jordan Ott, who's an assistant coach for the Cavs, he was on the staff there. Like they have some crossover between that, and maybe learning from that experience will be a good thing for Kenny Atkinson, having this one to learn from too.
Let me ask you, last year the Cavs had a gentleman's sweep, but the Celtics went on to win it all. If the Pacers goes on to win it all, would it like make you feel a little bit better about this?
I think it should make you feel worse, if anything, because like last year, the Cavs, and they can point to the injuries last year that they had, and they did. Donovan didn't play in a couple of those games. Karis LeVert was hurt. Jared Allen didn't play in that entire series against Boston. But even a fully healthy Cavs team was not winning that series. Like that was not ever going to be anything. I thought if the Cavs played perfect, they'll lose in 6 games against the Celtics. Like that's just what it was last year. This year, they were heavy favorites. They should have won this series. They had, I think, the best road they might potentially have to get to the finals to win the NBA Finals. If anything, if you want to feel better about the Cavs losing this series, I feel like you should probably be rooting for OKC, because that's the one team I look at left and say, yeah, I probably would not pick the Cavs to beat them. Other than that, like I think you should not feel good that this happened, because it's, to me, a huge wasted opportunity.
And I think it looks, maybe you don't, I'm curious your opinion. I think it looks even worse because the Celtics showed so much heart yesterday. Or do you not buy that?
I don't think that matters. Like they hit a bunch of threes. When they hit a bunch of threes, they're gonna win games. That's who the Boston Celtics are. When they hit 20+ threes, they win games.
They still
when
won
they
without
don't,
their best player.
Yeah, but they've been good without him all year, and there are some metrics that say they're actually kind of better without Jason Tatum, because he can kind of stop the ball offensively and in those high leverage. Like, well, look at the games the Cavs won against Boston. What happened? They got Tatum into playing iso ball. The game they won in Boston, he scored 45 points. He needed 38 shots to do it, and the Cavs got back in that game because he just kept taking mid-range shot after mid-range shot. You can make the case their offense doesn't look quite as good when he's on the floor versus when it's off the floor.
I'm sorry, I love analytics again, but I'm ignoring any stats that says the Celtics are better than with Jason Tatum without Jason
And
Tatum.
also, like, they still have Jaylen Brown. Jason Tatum wasn't the guy that won Finals MVP for them last year. Like, you can talk about missing Tatum, and I do think there are things that say, really great teams find a way to win a game or two without one of their best players. I wouldn't expect them to win this series. I wouldn't expect them to win the finals anymore, and I think that's part of the conversation. But to win one game where they hit a bunch of threes, like, I don't think that
Well, let's see what happens
anything.
Game 6 in New York.
Thank you, Danny, for bringing some common sense to this conversation. I tried to say that 3 minutes ago, and boy, you looked at me like I had 13 minutes.
I just said that if there's a stat that says they're better without him, is insane. And first of all, I don't want to hear about regular season stats anymore, because, as Jason said yesterday, the regular season NBA and the playoffs might as well be a different sport.
Different sports.
It's a different sport. It's meaningless. What you do in the regular season doesn't matter.
I know what? It's sad.
I don't even want to watch the Cavs play next year. I don't want to watch a single game.
What's sad
until
is
the playoffs.
you went from it's meaningless to watching them this year. I'm enjoying watching basketball again.
I was.
Only come all the way
John and the
back.
Cavs just kicked him in the
Come all the way
both
back to
Both of
this
them.
meaningless.
The two teams I was rooting for that got me back into basketball this year, St. John's and the Cavs, both shit down their leg in the playoffs.
No, it's a you problem.
How's it my fault?
You like a team and they immediately suck.
I liked the Cavs in 2016. They won a championship.
You weren't a Clevelander then.
What are you talking about?
You got to be here at least 5 years to be a Clevelander.
I was here 5 years.
How many years were you there?
I was actually a couple of months shy of 5 years.
Exactly.
I was, no, you know what? Yeah, I was 2 months shy of 5 years.
Oh,
in the Cavs
sorry.
winning
Not a
championship.
Clevelander yet.
Danny,
First time goal is a little short.
Danny, what do they do now? Like, what? I know that when you look at the contracts and the
heard that.
second apron, what moves or what would you do this offseason to try to make your team, the Cavs, better for the upcoming season?
So they've got to be creative. I mean, they're going to be a very expensive team. If I were Kobe Altman, I would not bring back the entirety of the core four. I think that at a certain point, you kind of are who you are. And we saw them have postseason failures under JB Bickerstaff that looked kind of similar to this one. Now, I still think making that move that they made with the coaching switch last year was the right one. And I think Kenny Atkinson will grow from this. But I kind of think that this is becoming a player problem. And yeah, we can point to health. We can point to Darius not being healthy. Donovan was obviously, I think, fighting through a lot. And I don't think that if this were a regular season game, he would have been anywhere near a basketball floor for this entire series, really, with that calf injury. But I think that they need to revamp this team a little bit. And there are a lot of things that say the Cavs are at their best when Evan Mobley's playing center. And I do think one of the more difficult things to do is when you have another guy at that position who's a borderline all-star, which Jared Allen has been in Cleveland, it can be hard to not play at your best because you have somebody blocking somebody else, if that makes sense. Like, I think having Evan maybe not being a full-time center, not playing center for like 35 minutes a night when he's out there, but playing more center more frequently. Think back to the way the Lakers looked when they won the 2020 title. And they had JaVale McGee, they had Dwight Howard. Those guys would start games at center. But it was really easy to say, okay, it matters now. Anthony Davis is going to go play center. That's what the Cavs need to be able to do. I think that's a more difficult thing to do with Jared Allen on this roster in that starting lineup as opposed to having somebody who might be a little bit lesser and you can kind of reallocate some of that money into building up more depth in other positions on the roster.
You know, it's interesting you say that because Jared Allen wrote that article. What was that on? Uninterrupted?
The Players
Tribune, where he was talking about, you know, he pretty much wanted to help Evan take that next step. And after seeing Evan take that next step this season, do you think Evan even needs Jared anymore?
I mean, I don't think that he needs anybody to be great. Like, I think Evan is just going to be great because he's a great basketball player. I think having a center alongside him for part of the game absolutely is something that helps him. Like, you would not want him playing center 33 minutes a night for 82 games. That's a brutal burden on you to have. So that's not what you would want. I think Jarrett helped him, but I think ultimately Evan is so good that whoever's around him is going to find a way to help him. I don't know that it needs to be Jared Allen anymore.
Do you think, like we were talking about this yesterday, about he needs to demand the ball more?
Sure.
Like there's a stretch of all these games. In Game 5, like he was kicking ass in the first half, and then he just never sees the ball. They got to get him the ball more.
Yeah, that's on part of that's on him.
Yeah.
Part of that's on
Yeah.
the guards. Part of that's on Kenny Atkinson and his coaching staff. Like, that is not all an Evan Mobley problem. That's kind of, when I look at somebody who's not a ball dominant guy that's bringing the ball to the floor all the time, like, it's never on only that person to get the basketball in their hands. And that's part of the reason why, unless you have somebody like Nikola Jokic, you don't see a lot of teams that their best player is a true big, just because it can be hard to primarily run late game offense through them. And the Cavs have had that issue with Evan. They need to do a better job of, and I thought they did a great job during this regular season of empowering him and letting him kind of grow offensively the way that he did. But I think that he needs to be more forceful in wanting the basketball. I think Donovan and Darius need to do a better job getting him the ball. I think Kenny Atkinson needs to do a better job putting him in those positions because we saw what he's capable of. Like, he's going to, if I had to bet, finish second team All-NBA. These accolades are not going to stop for him. He's going to be one of the 10 best basketball players in the world, and the Cavs have to take advantage of that.
Do you think that the Cavs, whether they trade Jared Allen, whether they trade Darius Garland, or both even, maybe that's unlikely,
It's possible.
Do they need to make sure that when they're acquiring players, that it's not just about talent, but they need some players with an edge to them, some toughness?
I think after hearing what everybody said
Yeah.
at exit interviews yesterday, where it's asking questions, what needs to change between right now and this time next year? Because you guys are right, and they know this regular season next year, nobody's going to care what they do.
Right.
Donovan said we could go 82-0, no one's going to care.
No.
And
That's a fact.
82-0 is probably a little extreme. I think if they go undefeated, people will care. But they're going
to 40-0. We're going to talk.
Yeah,
about
we'll
exactly.
Yeah.
But the point is, they have to prove it in the playoffs. And they all said we need to get physically tougher and mentally tougher.
Yep.
And I don't know if that's something you can do in the regular season without changing who's around you. I asked Max Strus about that, and he goes, I thought we were plenty tough in the regular season, but it's a different sport in the postseason, as you guys have mentioned. And there's a much different level of toughness. I think the toughness looks different, too, in the playoffs than what it does in the regular season. I think that bringing in new faces into that locker room is probably something that they need to do in order for that to arrive the way it should.
Teams aren't scared of the Cavs.
Correct.
Teams aren't intimidated by them. Teams like the Knicks and Pacers look at them and say, we're going to go right at your neck, and there's nothing you're going to do about it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think, Jason, chime in also if you want, but Dan, what do you guys think they need to do differently beyond the talent change that they hopefully will make? Like, do they need to handle the regular season in a different manner?
The one thing I look at is, and the Cavs were very happy about this during the regular season, but then you watch what happened at the end of Game 2 and was like, I think they need to play their stars a little bit more in the regular season. Like, they celebrated the fact that Donovan played a career low in minutes. Darius
I think we all did at the time.
And it's like, the depth matters. And they won 64 games by not playing their star players the way that the New York Knicks do, with how many guys played 40-plus minutes a night for them. I'm not saying that they need to go out and do that, because that's probably not the right thing either. Like, I would not be surprised that, if the Knicks beat the Celtics, they fall apart against the Pacers trying to keep up with Indiana. But I think the Cavs weren't necessarily ready for that, and part of the reason why is they didn't play enough in the regular season. I think that's a very fair critique to have of the way they handled this regular season. You look at Game 2, they ran out of gas in Game 2 of the second round. Now, they said that game felt like a Game 7. It was a very high-intensity game, and those things are true, but you cannot run out of gas in Game 2 of the second round. Like, at that point, they had won 4 playoff games. They had to win 12 more playoff games to reach their goal, and they already had ran out of gas. Like, that, to me, was one of the most glaring things to come out of this series.
I could understand Donovan's perspective because he was carrying the team the whole game.
Well, and he's hurt. Like, I get that.
But the rest of the team, there was no excuse for that.
What about Todd Jerome? What do you think about, obviously, it's a contract year for him.
Right.
Do you think he re-signs with the Cavs?
And Sam Merrill.
I mean, I think those are probably two different cases, because I think when you're somebody in Sam's position, and Sam is 29 or 30 years old, and he's on a minimum deal, like, you kind of, at that point, you are just kind of a minimum contract guy. So I don't think that he's going to find himself out of the Cavs price range. Ty is an interesting one, because I think he probably lost some money in this series. I would be surprised, and there are a few teams that are going to have cap space this summer. I would be surprised if any of those teams want to spend legitimate cap space on Ty Jerome, because especially in today's financial climate, you're going to want to spend cap space on a guy that's like a surefire starter, borderline all-star. And Ty had a great season, but he's not a borderline all-star guy, and no one's going to confuse him with that. So I think the Cavs are going to be competing with teams that can spend their mid-level exception on him, and they're allowed to kind of get to that point financially to retain Ty. I do think they probably have to trade somebody to cut costs elsewhere if they want to keep him, just because if you sign Ty Jerome for, like, say, let's just make this an even number, $10 million a year, and I think we'll probably get more than that, it's going to cost you like $50 million a year because of what you're going to have to pay in luxury tax and getting over that second apron. So, like, if they're going to do it, it's going to have to be worth it, and they're probably going to have to shed salary elsewhere to justify it.
Dean and Isaac, were you surprised by how they played in this postseason? I guess not Isaac.
Not Isaac.
We've got plenty of evidence on that.
Yeah, I was not surprised by Isaac at all. Dean just does not shoot the basketball. And, like, that's the thing that I keep coming back to, because he is a good defender, and to get back to the advanced analytics, those numbers love him. But he doesn't shoot the basketball enough. He doesn't.
You're more analytics than anybody.
I know. I love it.
I know what you're giggling
I got
about
to question basketball analytics.
Like, every good analytic is like, well, you look at it like, but it did nothing.
I'm like, I watched Dean Wade play. Don't do nothing.
He's turning into Jay in front of our eyes.
Yes.
Come on.
That's the biggest insult you could give Bull if you understand.
Let's face facts.
Oh, man.
He's ready to fight me right now.
We're going to keep it real, even though I know you're going to disagree. If Dean Wade were black, he'd be playing in Croatia. They need to fit their white. They need a white quota of a certain amount of players, and if he were black, he'd be in Croatia. You know this. Come on, stop it. Maybe Spain.
He's a very good. The thing I guess that should drive people nuts about him is he is a good shooter. Like, he's capable of making these shots, and we've seen it at times before. And he is a good defender. And I thought that the Cavs actually, until Game 5, did a really good job on Tyrese Haliburton in the series. But he needs to shoot the basketball, because far too often in this series, they were playing 4-on-5 offensively. And when you're playing 4-on-5 offensively, one of those four is Donovan Mitchell, who played great, like superstar stuff, but doing it on one leg did not have nearly the same burst and explosion that we're used to seeing him have. That really put your back against the wall. Like, they needed to be at least playing 5-on-5, and because they have one guy in Isaac Okoro who teams are never going to defend in the postseason, no matter what he shoots, he could make all of his threes. Not going to defend him because they're just going to bet he's going to miss the next one. And Dean Wade, who doesn't shoot, like, they passed up, I thought, too many good shots because guys were a little too timid on that end of the floor.
All right, final thing. Who's going to win the NBA title? Go.
I think the winner of the OKC-Denver series, OKC's up 3-2 right now, so I will go with OKC.
You're not an Ant-Man guy.
You know, I like the Wolves. I actually used to cover the Wolves. I have friends that work in that organization. Like, I'd be thrilled for them if they do.
And they wronged you, so you said bleep them.
They did not. But I think Denver's got the best player in the world. OKC's got the MVP. I think whoever gets out of that series, particularly if OKC wins in 6 and it does not go to a Game 7, that would be my title pick. At this point, probably feel pretty good about whoever wins the West as opposed to the Pacers or the Knicks.
All right, good stuff, Dan. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, thanks.
All right.
That was Danny Cunningham. You can find him on the Locked On Cavs podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Before we move on, Bull, tell us a little about Menu RX here.
Menu RX is for those looking to get in better shape, to lose weight, to just have better nutritional habits. The doctors and scientists that work for Menu RX are not trying to fit you into a point scale and have you buy their popcorn and pretzels. Menu RX puts you on a specific eating plan for your needs, your body type, and your goals. So for more information, check out menu-rx.com. Talk to Dr. Jake May and the rest of the team at Menu RX. Find out how they can help you. One-on-one consultations, and like I said, tailoring a specific diet plan, again, whether it's to get in better shape or lose weight, just for you and your body type. HSA and FSA payments are available, so check them out at menu-rx.com. That's menu-rx.com.
Over the last 2 weeks, guys, the last 15 days to be exact, Jose Ramirez has been red hot at the plate. If you look at these numbers, over his last 15 days, he's hitting .383. 18 hits, 3 homers, 8 RBIs, and OPS of 1.132. Jason, have you noticed anything different in Jose over the last 2 weeks? And really the last 30 days has been a lot better than he was to start the season. But of these last 2 weeks where he has been absolutely red hot at the plate, have you noticed anything different in his approach, in his swing that's led to some of these better results than we had seen prior when the season first started?
No, it's just baseball. Guys get hot, guys go cold, and he's on a tear right now. Jose's traditionally been a little bit of a slow starter. Actually got off to a pretty good start this year.
Yeah.
Considering his career norms in April. And it's just this, he'll go cold again and he'll get hot again, and this is how baseball goes. And enjoy the hot streaks while they last, and hopefully the hits come at key times. And driving runs.
The better players will have the longer hot streaks and the cold streaks.
Yeah.
That's it. But every player, no matter how good he is, even Aaron Judge, who
he will
nobody
cool
can get
off
out right
eventually,
now.
I think.
I don't know why anybody's pitching to him.
They're not.
He hit a game-winning homer in the 8th inning yesterday. Why would you ever throw him a pitch?
He's having a lot of games.
He should be getting the Barry Bonds treatment right now.
He kind of is. He's getting a lot of games.
I got to be honest with y'all. The regular season is meaningless.
Here we go.
Untrue.
Jose has been great in the regular season, and I
That's
watched
true.
me in the postseason go cold. It's meaningless. I'm sorry. I got to be honest. I know what the analytics say, but I just got to be honest. It's baloney.
Hey, listen. The regular season is not meaningless in terms of it's hard to make the playoffs in baseball.
I agree with that.
If you want to say I don't care what Jose does in the regular season because he has not come through in the playoffs, I can't argue that. That's fair.
Aaron Judge has had a great regular season, and I watched him go cold in the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, he's been better than Jose in the playoffs, but yeah, I mean, it's fair to be critical of Jose. He's playing well right now. He was hurt earlier too. He got banged up. Remember, he missed like a game or two. I think it was just one game he missed. I don't remember what he.
Oh,
what
with the ankle, the knee or the ankle or whatever.
Yeah, when he took
ran
that
through the
weird
bag.
stretch.
He came out of a game early, missed the game, and then came back.
Right,
Yeah.
then he came back because he never. I mean, the guy's only missed. I think he's only been on the injured list once in his career, which is kind of crazy in baseball when everybody goes on the injured list. So he's playing great. There's nothing different. He's just probably feeling healthier. The weather's getting warmer, and he's heating up. They had a bad day yesterday. Pitching was not good.
Kyle Manzardo hit a bomb.
Yeah, but they lost.
They did.
Had a chance to sweep the Brewers, and they got bombed.
What's the next series?
9-5.
It's Terry Francona and the Reds.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
It's rivalry
Ohio
week.
Friday.
Cup.
No game tonight. Back on track. 10-game road trip coming up, guys.
Yeah.
Starting with
The Reds stink
Reds,
right now.
The Red Hot Twins. I don't know how they did
Twins won
yesterday.
10 in a row.
10 in a row, yeah.
They won both the doubleheader yesterday.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Detroit before welcoming the Dodgers.
You're not going to say. You're going to say Red Hot Twins and not say Red Hot Tigers?
Oh, I was gonna say the
Tigers
Tigers
got the
on
best
fire,
record in the American
too.
League.
Well, all I know is the Twins had won 10 in a row. I know the
Well,
Tigers
but
won
the
again on a
Tigers
walk-off last
are
night.
winning 2/3 of their games.
Well, what were they in their last 10, Bull?
I don't care. They've been red hot longer. The season is not 10 games.
I would say they're hot, not red hot in the last 10.
Jeez.
Meaningless.
But that's a gauntlet. Take the schedule again, though, real quick.
We don't have 10 games under 500 teams making the playoffs in baseball.
Well,
Yeah.
when you guys look at this schedule,
Yeah.
Cincinnati on the season, slightly under 500. They're 20 and 24.
Yeah.
After that, you got a Twins team that's won 10 in a row.
Yeah.
You have the Tigers, who have 29 wins, the most in the major leagues.
Yep.
And then you have the Los Angeles Dodgers, excuse me, combining 2 and 1s. But the LA Dodgers,
Yeah,
who are
that's
28-15 with the second most wins in all of baseball. They're only 5-5 in their last 10, but
That
got
is
10
a-
games before they take on the
That's a-
Cleveland Guardians. That's a tough,
That is
tough
a-
stretch.
That is a brutal schedule the way Minnesota's playing right now. They're playing well. Yeah, it's a tough stretch. Cincinnati's not been that bad. They've been. I mean,
Man,
lately
they
they've
lost
been
to
bad.
the White Sox like 2 out of 3
The White
games.
Sox are a little better.
They lost
this year.
on Pete
You know what's
Rose
interesting about the
night.
White Sox, kind of out of nowhere, Jason, is the White Sox starting pitching has
They've
been pretty
found some
solid.
pitching. Yeah.
Their bullpen still is nothing,
They could have had a good one if they would have signed.
and their lineup stinks. But
they could have picked up Sticks.
I'm shocked nobody claimed him.
beyond shocked for less than $2 million.
Yeah.
That's
Take
what
a
people
flyer
think
on
of
him.
him right now. But yeah, bad. It was a bad loss yesterday. They got smacked around a little bit. Overall, the pitching's been good for the Guardians. The division's really tough right now with Minnesota playing better. Obviously, Kansas City's played better. Look at that. Everybody over at least 3 games over 500. And while the White Sox are bad, they're not like what they were last year.
That's
Bad.
it. Wasn't
or
it-
Colorado. The Rock. Isn't it? This is amazing. The White Sox broke their major league record for
Losses?
losing percentage last year, right? They won 40 games.
The White
It's
Sox-
the least amount ever in a 162-game schedule. The Rockies are on pace to not even win 30. Or I don't know what they did yesterday. Did the Rockies finally win yesterday?
They lost. No, they are 1-9 in their last 10. They've lost 3 in a row. They are 7-36 on the season with a 163 win percentage and a minus 137 run differential.
That's
What's
all
their-
those numbers are worse than the White Sox.
What's their record since firing the manager?
Oh, and whatever.
0-2.
I thought they. Oh, he got fired
that's
after
Sunday.
they
They won on
won and then
Sunday
fired
and then
him.
fired him
I
after their
got you.
win, and then they're worse than the White Sox were last year. They have zero talent. They have 2 players I like in their lineup, Brenton Doyle and Hunter Goodman, who they're not going to trade because they're both like rookies or second-year guys. They don't have a single decent. They might have 1 or 2 decent arms in the pen, but you wouldn't know it because they never pitch in big spots. Their rotation, not only is their rotation awful, they've had the same rotation for years. These guys suck every year, and they stick with them. The rest of their lineup is an absolute abomination. Their owner is, all kidding aside, their owner is worse than Jimmy Haslam. He is lost. I don't even think they do analytics. As much as I'm crapping on analytics for basketball, I don't even think they do analytics with the Rockies.
They're very much stuck in the 90s.
Yeah, they are an embarrassing franchise, and I do think they're not. I don't think they're going to win 30 games. I'm going to say that right now.
I can't imagine being on that team.
Oh my God, they did Bud Black a favor.
Yeah.
They were interviewing. I was listening to MLB radio yesterday. They were interviewing Joe Madden, and he said, like, we say from the outside, oh, they did him a favor. Joe Madden, who's friends with him, goes, yeah, they kind of did him a favor.
Yeah.
He still gets paid. He doesn't have to go to work there. I mean, like, if you're a player on the Colorado Rockies, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Like, how do you go to work every day?
You look at your paycheck.
That's it.
You look at your check.
That's
account.
exactly what it is.
There's not a lot of guys in that team. They're making big money compared to most people.
Yeah.
But for baseball, there's not a lot of guys making money on that
turn
team.
around in a year. Y'all said the same thing about the A's last year. And
No, not this level. That was 2 years ago.
Oh,
with the
2
A's.
years ago, yeah.
They are my second favorite team now.
I like the A's.
I love the A's.
Yeah.
I watch a ton of their games.
They're improving. They're still going to finish under 500,
They just
I bet, this year.
didn't they beat the Yankees? Oh no, they playing the Dodgers. I think
Yankees
they beat the
playing the Mariners,
Dodgers.
The A's are feisty. I bet you they still finish under 500, but not too
They got a good
far
lineup.
under.
They need more pitching.
They're
They got a good
improving.
lineup.
They're improving, yeah. And even the
JP
White Sox,
Sears.
there's signs of improvement. They're still going to be bad. White Sox will still lose 110 probably, 105 at least. But, man, the Rockies. I mean, I don't know how I got on the Rockies, but
I got a miscellaneous.
Last thing on the guards, because then we got our guest waiting in the wings. We'll bring in Frank Schwab here in a second.
Yeah.
But
I'll ask after that.
with the guards here,
Yeah.
and Jose getting hot, if Jose is playing at this level, which is he's in the MVP not conversation, but
he's not. No, there is no MVP.
I know
MVP
because it's just Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
I know it's. I was going to say conversation.
Yeah.
I didn't want to start this back and forth.
Yeah, okay.
But playing
Yeah.
at a level that is an all Major League Baseball caliber level, one of the best players in baseball.
All right.
Oh, I mean, over the last 2
I mean,
weeks.
there's probably 12 guys hitting like that for the last 2 weeks.
My question is,
Yeah.
if Jose, obviously not 383 for the rest
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
year,
go
but
ahead.
if he's playing at the peak Jose level, and you're getting some contributions from Manzardo, and Nolan Jones had 2 RBIs yesterday for the first time in forever. It's the first time I changed his graphic in no joke, like 3 weeks.
Okay.
Does the Guardians lineup go from this is ugly to okay, it's respectable, or does that not really change?
It's still ugly.
No. Because when I think of the Guardians lineup, I assume, for the most part, Jose's going to be very good. So
What about if Gabby hit 17 home runs on the season?
you know what the sad part of this all is? And I'm answering your question by saying this. We talk about 17 home runs for a player on the Guardians as if that's some accomplishment. 17 home runs.
17 home runs.
That's nothing.
That's a guy that you're not expecting it from, though.
There are 22 players in Major League Baseball with double-digit home runs already.
Already.
What, he got 3?
Trent
need
Grisham.
4.
He's got like 12,
I
didn't he?
need 13
He's
more.
He's never hit more than 17 in a season. He has 12. By the way, he should have 13. Julio Rodriguez, I don't know if you guys saw this
Yeah,
play,
great catch
went over the
yesterday.
fence to rob him of a home run yesterday. So, I mean,
What does Quan have home run wise?
Four, I think.
Listen,
4. Yeah,
I'm not going to say I told you so, but I told you he wouldn't hit 20, and he's not going to hit 20.
I never said he was. Nobody said
He might still,
Who
but he won't.
said he was hitting 20?
I said he could.
Yeah, he could. Sure, he still could.
shit.
But he
Schneemann
won't.
is second on the Guardians with 5 home runs. So
Who is?
Daniel
The
Schneemann.
oil mechanic.
he don't like
No, he's
that.
not second.
He
What are you
don't
talking
like
about?
Oh, third. So behind
Yeah.
Manzardo and Jose, he's third with 5 home runs.
So he's
He didn't
5.
like that one.
That means the Guardians have 2 players on pace for 20 or more home runs.
Correct.
Because we're past the quarter pole.
By 1 game, yeah.
Come
See,
on.
Jones had, what was it, 3 or 4 exit velocities over 100 yesterday?
He's been doing that all season, though.
I'm
I'm
it's coming.
not giving up
You know,
on
it's
him,
coming.
but
You feel that way for him, but not Gabby, though. That's crazy.
I like Gabby.
Gabby's analytics are bad.
I
Unlike
don't care. What did I tell you?
Now he cares about analytics. Now he's back on him.
guys, Jason, is it fair to say that any analytic that says the Cavs are the best offensive team ever is being used improperly?
It was one measure.
But
It was one measure.
Okay.
It's not- they didn't say the best. They said
We
second
got our
best.
guest and Frank.
I'm
Schwab is
sorry.
an
Go
analytics
ahead.
guy,
Let's
so we're
bring
gonna
Frank
bring in
on.
our guest. If you
Yeah.
guys don't already follow the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on social media, make sure you get the extra content you don't get between the hours of 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. on our Twitter, on our Instagram, on our TikTok. You can see the follow handles on your screen. Make sure you give us a follow on those. And with that, we are thrilled to welcome in Yahoo senior NFL writer Frank Schwab to the show. Frank, it's your second time on UCSS, but thanks for coming back and talking a little Browns with us again.
Appreciate it. It's funny listening to you guys talk about the Rockies. I'm based here in Colorado. People here are fed up. You can't even imagine. Like, they still go to the games because the ballpark's really nice and Lodo and lower downtown and Denver's really cool. But It's an absolute positive train wreck, unwatchable baseball. Yeah, it was funny listening to you guys talk about it because everything that you guys are talking about has been talked about out here many, many times over. It is an irredeemable franchise. They're awful. They're just a poverty franchise of the.
It's an absolute disgrace. I think the owner should be forced out, and I get the fans want to support the team and go to the. I wish the fan. I'm never going to yell at fans for going to games. But I kind of hope that the fans stop going because that's what the organization deserves, and the league, which never will do this, should force him out because he's a disgrace.
They did with Frank McCourt, though. I mean, I guess it was different with Frank
it was
McCourt
a little
and the
bit of a
Dodgers.
different situation.
But there was a precedent of, hey, we don't think you're running a franchise into the ground.
Yeah.
Like, we only have 30 of these things. Like, maybe we need to consider a change. It wouldn't bother anybody in Colorado if the Monforts were forced out. Not a single, maybe the Monforts, but other than them, nobody here would. They'd have a parade downtown if that happened.
Yeah. All right, Frank, let's talk some football. Obviously, everybody gets excited on scheduled day, except for Jason over here next to me. He hates scheduled day. So he's a misery over there. He's an absolute misery. But we just played the silly schedule game that everybody plays.
8-9.
Had the Browns finishing 8-9.
8-9.
Jason had the Browns finishing 5-12. I had the Browns finishing 4-13. I don't know that you've analyzed the Browns' schedule, but is there any hope in your mind that the Browns could be in Tyvis's range of a 500 team? What's the hope for that?
Well, it is that 2 years ago they were really good, and defense can rebound up, down, whatever. Yeah. And maybe the defense bounces back, and they run the ball really well with the 2 rookie running backs, and you could kind of hide Joe Flacco or whoever the heck the quarterback's going to be. But the one thing about the schedule that I'm sure you guys have pointed out already many times, how do you not start 0-5? I mean, this is a ridiculous Bengals, Ravens, Packers, Lions, Vikings to start the season. The NFL did the Browns no favors here. If you get out of that thing 1-4, I would consider it a win. Like, really. And that stinks for the Browns to just be like, we got to run this gauntlet to start the season. That's what really puts them up against it right away. And then if you get to 0-5, which honestly I think is probably going to happen, now you start talking about quarterback changes, like Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur. It's just a messy way to start the season. I don't like that for the Browns. No, I don't think they're going to get near 500. But, I mean, if you squint hard enough and you say, well, I mean, they were a playoff team 2 years ago. Maybe they can, if the defense bounces back, maybe they could be good again. But it's going to be tough, man. It's just, the schedule's tough. The team's not good. The quarterback situation's a mess. I can't say I love the Browns. And I love the Browns going into last year. I really did. It was one of the things I got terribly, terribly wrong, obviously. But I liked them going into last year. Do not like them going into this year.
Well, if you predicted they may be 0-5, if they do start off 0-5, how is it likely that AB and Kevin continue to remain at their positions?
I know fans don't like this, but I don't think they're the problem. Even if you start 0-5, it's just not their fault. Like, the Deshaun Watson thing just killed them. And we talked about that when I came on with you guys last year. It was such a disastrous trade that was Jimmy Haslam led that I don't know how you could look those two guys in the eye and say, you're the problem, you need to go. Like, I don't see how this franchise is any better off without Stefanski, who's, won Coach of the Year awards, without Andrew Berry, who's done a good job. I thought they had a really, really good draft and a really good offseason, to be honest with you. I thought that they pushed the right buttons. I don't think it's their fault. I think if you get to 0-5, everybody's going to be calling for jobs, and I get that. That's the way the NFL works. But I just kind of think that's reactionary and lazy. To be really honest with you, I just don't see the Browns being better off without those two guys. Now, there's going to be 18 million quarterback changes, I assume. I can see all 4 of those guys starting games for the Browns this year. That's how it's going to kind of play out. But I just... Boy, I mean, you guys agree with me, right? 0-5 is very much on the table.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely on the table.
Yeah.
What's the high point?
The first 5, Frank.
I definitely got 3. I do got 3 and 2, but 0-5 is definitely on the table.
Which 3? Which 3 are we talking about?
Cincy upset with the Lions.
Maybe. Okay.
And what's the last?
Goodness,
what's
the Lions
the 5th game? The Vikings. The Vikings. They got a new OC, Frank. It's a new OC.
The Vikings do have a new OC, and they have essentially a rookie quarterback. We'll see.
Yes, and it's London.
And they're going to be sick of being there.
And the Browns have often outplayed their overall play against the Bengals for whatever. Not last year, but a lot of times in this era they have for whatever reason.
You're right.
So I could see it, but
I remember opening day 2 years ago. Yeah.
Right, but yes, I mean 0-5 is certainly 0-4. I feels like very much in play.
Yeah, the fifth game there against the Vikings, I'll agree with you there because that's going to be their second game in 8 days in 2 different countries. Like they're playing in Dublin, staying, and they're going to play in London. I don't like that at all for the Vikings. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
But so that's tricky. I'll give you that. But it's just, man, again, the NFL just did the Browns no favors with the lead into the schedule. They must have. I haven't really looked, but I assume the Browns have the hardest schedule in September, and it's probably not even close.
You mentioned the conga line at quarterback. When do you think the rookies play? When should they play?
It's really tough. I mean, maybe it's week 1. Like, I have no faith in Joe Flacco, and I'm sorry. Like, I know he was good 2 years ago for 6 games. Kind of caught lightning in a bottle, right? But he looked awful with the Colts last year. Now he's 40, when almost every single quarterback except Tom Brady in NFL history is retired or washed, one of the two. So do I think Joe Flacco is going to have some fountain of youth at age 40? I don't. So I don't even know Joe Flacco makes it to week 1 as a starter, although I'm sure they probably want to start the season that way. And then you start the roulette spin, right? Like, all right, well, Kenny Pickett has some experience. You can kind of put him in there. Dillon Gabriel obviously was drafted 2 rounds higher than Shedeur, so they like him more than they like Shedeur. But yet Shedeur, we all remember, first-round talent type of stuff in some people's eyes. I don't know. I think at some point, it's probably going to be after the bye week, that kind of thing. I think the bye is like week 8 or something like that. So that's always a sweet spot to get the rookie in there. But I can't imagine it taking long because none of that, I just can't imagine Joe Flacco succeeding. I can't really imagine Kenny Pickett succeeding. So what do you do after that? You got to go to one of the rookies to give yourself a little bit of hope.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see because you got 2 rookies and Pickett and Flacco. I would think maybe one of Pickett or Flacco, I was about to call him Plickett, and just, combine them. Might not even make the team if they're all healthy because you're not going to cut the rookies. I know Shedeur is a 5th-round pick, but I'd be surprised if they cut him.
I would be too. I think Browns are going to carry 4. I mean, we always make this huge deal. Oh my God, you can't carry 4 quarterback. Like, what? The 53rd guy on the roster is inactive on Sunday anyway, and he's bouncing between here and the practice squad. Is it really that big of a deal? I get coaches obsessed over this, GMs obsessed over this, but it's not. Like, what you rather have a guy who's a quarterback who might play special teams, or Shedeur Sanders as your 53rd guy. Like, I think you pick Shedeur Sanders in that. So I think they keep all 4. And if they don't, I wonder about Joe Flacco. I mean, to be honest, like, again, he's 40. Like, this doesn't work in the NFL. It just doesn't, unless you're Tom Brady. That's the guy. Like, that's the only outlier in NFL history. Random seasons. Warren Moon had a good season. Brett Favre had a good season. But generally, you hit 40, you are done. Like, capital D, done in the NFL. So I don't think Joe Flacco battles that. And at what point do the Browns say, what are we doing here? Like, just give a young kids a shot and see what they can do.
Frank, last year, we know that the offense struggled. I think they finished 32nd with the worst offense in the NFL. But defensively, the year before, they were number 1. And then, obviously, they took a step back last year. What were some things that you seen that changed them? Like, was it because the offense wasn't good and they was on the field? Or did you think it was just some holes there in the defense?
I don't think there was necessarily holes, although like the JOK injury didn't help and all that kind of stuff. Like you face a lot of good offenses and sometimes you just fluctuate year to year. And I think it's somewhere in the middle. I don't think they're the best defensive football. Certainly not what they were last year, though. I mean, especially adding Mason Graham and you got Myles Garrett, who's incredible. So I was surprised. I really surprised they fell as far as they did on defense last year. But I do think some of what you talked about is absolutely correct. There's just this malaise. No, the offense is giving you no help. None. And that, including we're on the field the whole time because they just can't get downs. I think it just creeps in. And it's a long season. And it's hard to keep up that level of being a top 5, top 10 defense when you know this offense isn't going to score any points. Like, God bless DTR. He's probably a really nice guy. He's the worst quarterback I've ever seen in the NFL. And these guys see that from the sideline. Like, we're not even getting first downs in this game, much less scoring. Like, how hard is it to get up as a defense when you know the offense isn't giving you any help? So I think it was that. I think it was just a mindset of, boy, how can we compete here? And And some things did go wrong. And, year by year, offensive coordinators look at film and probably figured out some things from shorts that he was doing. But I think it was just – I think the defense will bounce back. I don't think last year was their true level.
Frank, you mentioned the quarterback situation earlier, and you mentioned you're also located in Colorado. So I'm curious, what was your opinion on Shedeur Sanders coming into the draft? And I don't know if you were in the Boulder area and followed them closely in college, but
yeah.
Wherever Colorado you are, it's a lot closer than Cleveland. So just thoughts on Shedeur Sanders.
Absolutely. It was hard to get away from Colorado football because I've lived here 25 years. I'd never, and this is the truth, I know a lot of sports fans, obviously, because of what I do and the people I hang out with. I had never had a long conversation about Colorado football in the first 23 years I was here. Nobody. They were as dead of a program as you could ever imagine. And then Deion comes, and Shedeur comes, and Travis Hunter comes. And that's all anybody has wanted to talk about the last couple of years. Well, until Bo Nix started getting really good. But it was amazing how Shedeur helped build that program back up. From just an absolute zero to something people were actually excited about. I like Shedeur. I really do. I think he's tough. I think he's accurate. But I do understand the limitations. I get that he doesn't have a huge arm. He's not a great athlete, which is really weird to say about Deion's kid, because Deion might be the greatest athlete we've ever seen. I mean, when you add into baseball and all that kind of stuff, Deion is up there on that list. Shedeur's not that high-level athlete, but I do think he's very smart. I think he's, again, tough, accurate. But I just think his ceiling is probably lower than guys you want to draft. So I think he's actually going to be a solid NFL starter, but never a guy who's like going to win an MVP or anything like that. That's not in the cards for him. But I think he could have a career, which is, look, when you're a fifth-round quarterback, usually you don't have anything. Like you might get a start at the end of the year when everybody's hurt. Like that's kind of path fifth-round rookies have. I think Shedeur has a better shot than that to be relevant. I like him. I like what he did at Colorado. And the fact that he helped lift Jackson State, too. He did it in two different programs. I've always liked him. I understand why he fell. And that maybe not to the fifth round, but I do understand why he fell at least a little bit. There's a lot of stuff going on with, there's a lot of baggage with Shedeur. He's not just your typical fifth-round guy. He's the guy who's bringing a social media team, right? Like, this is just who Shedeur is. It's who the Sanders family is. I don't really fault that, but a lot of teams don't want to get in that business. So, in short, I do like Shedeur. I think he's going to be a relevant NFL player. I just don't think he has the upside of guys you really hitch your wagon to at the end of the day.
So would you be surprised if when the Browns do make a quarterback change at some point in the season, Shedeur's the rookie they turn to first ahead of Dillon Gabriel, even though Dillon was drafted 2 rounds earlier?
It would surprise me, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, obviously, because I think Shedeur could go in there and just show, I'm the better quarterback than Dillon Gabriel. Now, the thing is, the Browns obviously like Dillon Gabriel much, much more than they like Shedeur Sanders. There's a 2-round gap there. You don't draft a quarterback 94th overall, I think it was. You don't draft a quarterback with a top 100 pick if you don't like him. Like, you got to like something about him. So that's why it would surprise me, because they would just basically be saying we screwed up the 3rd round. We screwed up drafting Dillon Gabriel. We're just vaulting Shedeur ahead of him. But could I see a scenario where Shedeur is just better than Dillon Gabriel over training camp preseason? Yeah, I could. I'd say it's 75-25 that Dillon Gabriel's going to be the first guy to start there. But 25% for a guy who was drafted 2 rounds, behind the other guy is not bad odds, really, when you think about it.
That's true. Frank, thanks for joining us. Good luck with those Rockies. Maybe they'll win 25 this year.
I won't be watching them. You guys have been beating up on my Brewers. I'm a Milwaukee guy, so
all right.
I don't appreciate that. Don't appreciate that from the Guardians. But
there you go.
I appreciate being on.
Thanks, Frank.
That is Frank Schwab. You can find him on Yahoo Sports, one of their senior NFL writers. While Frank was on with us, Charles Woodson purchased a 0.1% stake in the Browns from the Haslam family.
Look at that, 0.1. Before we get into the super chats, I got a quick story that I just saw.
Please.
The state of Ohio may be 39th in economy, 30th in education, 34th in healthcare, 41st in environment, but we have somebody, one of our state house members, working on it, guys. His name is Tex, which is a great name. How do you get a guy in Ohio named Tex? That seems like it shouldn't be. We got a guy named Tex who is in the Boardman area, which is, I think, where Ken Carman is from. He's a state representative, and he wants to fix these things. He has proposed a bill to the State House that will maybe help those things, but most importantly, that Ohio State games can no longer be played at noon.
I saw that.
There is a bill on the State House floor that Ohio State games, they did rule out an exception for the Michigan game, that Ohio State games cannot be played at noon, 3:30 or later for all Ohio State games. Will you vote for that if you were in the State House there, Jason?
That's so dumb. Can we keep the politicians, for the most part, out of sports? They got enough problems to worry about.
Well, they like getting involved in sports because it's the one area they can get some love.
Yeah, they can pander. You know what they'll say? Fox pays the Big Ten a lot of money.
Yeah, right.
A lot of money. They're going to play at noon if we say they're going to play at noon. That's that's the end of that conversation.
It's not like we're on the West Coast.
Unless this politician is willing to match what Fox is donate or giving to the conference.
Well,
the Buckeyes will play at noon.
These politicians get enough handouts. They all come into politics poor and they all end up rich. I don't know what happens.
Noon games?
I did.
Yeah.
Get it out the way.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead.
Why would you be against noon games?
Fans can't get drunk enough.
Yeah, atmosphere-wise.
That's good, though. We don't need.
I'm not arguing with you.
Night games, the atmosphere is much better. But I love playing noon. Wake me up at 6 in the morning. Coaches come bang on the door at 6.
Yeah,
I'm already up because I get up at 5. Get up, ready to roll.
Still get up at 5 every day?
I get up at 4:45.
Well, now you have to.
4:45.
Were you getting up at 5 before you started this new morning gig? Oh, 6. All right, Mike. Let's get the super chats.
We got some super chats. A couple good ones today. Before we do that, we put the poll up about an hour ago.
Yeah.
Over 1,000 votes. I put the question as, did you have any idea what the Browns were referencing in their schedule release video? Over 1,000 votes, 92% said no.
Ouch.
They did not know the video that the Browns were referencing.
That's rough.
92%?
That might be the most lopsided poll we've ever done in the history of UCSF.
Although, what's interesting, it comes to mind, though, Steve Becker, our executive producer, sent us this list of all these analytics, speaking of which, about our show. I don't know if you guys looked at them at all, but I did. And there was one about the breakdown of our audience based on age. And I was surprised that the age group of, 18 to 24 is not. We don't have a ton of listeners, 18 to 24.
We're the next two categories.
25 to 34, 35 to 44. Those are our, and then next is 45 to 54. In total, 25 to 54, which is the main demographic in radio. Mm-hmm. That's where the majority of our listeners are. And between 18 and 24, we were lower than those other older groups. We have more 60-plus-year-olds than 18 to 24-year-olds that watch us, which that part I would not have guessed.
That's a little surprising.
Right, because it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
But whatever. I mean, younger people are maybe not, consuming sports the same way or whatever.
They're on TikTok.
So maybe that's why maybe 18-year-olds and 20-year-olds are getting it. I should play that video for my Little League team and see if any of them understand it.
I'm actually now more invested in finding out who knew about this video.
Yeah.
And what age group this was directed for.
I'm going to send this to we're off the air in 9 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm going to send it to AJ. He's at the Crushers game today.
Yeah.
See if he knows it.
No school today?
No.
Well, look at that.
They blew it off.
All
Took
right.
him to the game.
I
What's the
appreciate
Crushers?
that. Who are the Crushers?
Minor league team in Avon.
They're independent baseball league. They play out in Avon.
Oh.
Where's the video? I need the video.
Well,
I
emailed
it to you, Jason.
So
no, the Browns video.
Guys, we never get 92% on anything.
No, never, ever.
You could ask the question, are the Browns the best franchise in the NFL? And more than 8% of people would say yes.
Yeah.
Maybe not that. Maybe I'm going too far.
I do think we would get that.
Yeah, and only 8% of over 1,000
votes,
people.
So a legitimate sample size. It was up for an hour.
Said they knew what the hell the Browns were doing.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
You know the Cavs player, Hot Rod Williams?
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
He was involved in like a gambling thing in college.
I didn't
At
remember
Tulane.
that. Oh, yeah?
Yeah, at Tulane.
I didn't remember that.
He threw games.
No, I don't remember what it was. I remember there was something. There was some. Eric, do you remember what? There's some scandal he was involved in.
It was a gambling thing.
It was a gambling thing. Was he throwing games or shaving points?
He was not smart enough to
I heard that about him.
Yeah. I didn't remember that. I mean, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, I remember
obviously.
that there was a scandal that he was involved with at Tulane. Where did that come from?
Did that come from the Pete Rose thing or what? Is Pete Rose going to get in the Hall of Fame in
Hey,
2027?
Dustin, we're talking to you. Where'd the hot rod thing come from?
So down in Columbus on the radio station, we did top 5 scandals, and I had looked up some scandals that happened, and that popped up, and I was like, oh, I didn't
So what was
know that.
number 1? Penn State?
Penn State was up there. No, well, we did our own list.
Jim Tressel in the pants?
I had that on mine. I did the ones that I knew of.
That is the dumbest. I still can't believe you think about that now.
That,
And by the way,
tattoos.
real quick on the Pete Rose thing, because for those who don't know,
That's why we talked.
I'm going to mention this real quick. All the players, Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson, are 2 players that are permanently banned from baseball.
Not anymore.
But now that they're dead, well, Joe Jackson's been dead for a long time. They are now eligible to be voted on, not by the traditional Hall of Fame voters, but by these veterans committees. They're not called the Veterans Committee anymore.
2027.
Yeah, it will be the next time. I think Pete Rose should go. Pete Rose is the only player that was not. A lot of people don't know Shoeless Joe Jackson was on the Hall of Fame ballot, and the writers did not vote him in. But Pete Rose was never on the ballot. I think he should go to the ballot, in my opinion, because he never got a chance. I want to see what the writers would do if they'd vote him in. I'm not sure. But the reason I know you got to do super chats, but the reason I bring it up is because I've heard
McGuire should be on it. That's why you bring it up.
No, I've heard a number of people say, "Well, baseball's being hypocritical because they're in bed with the gambling companies and you can bet on baseball." That is the stupidest thing I ever heard. Pete Rose bet on baseball while he was managing and while he was playing. We don't know if he threw games. I mean, it's a ridiculous. Just because Major League Baseball now makes money off of gambling, the players today still can't gamble. You just had a bunch of no-name players get suspended, some for their whole careers last year. So that's a stupid thing that people say, which I don't like.
It is a slippery slope. I agree with you, and I hear what you're saying.
I agree it's a slippery slope, but that's not an excuse for what Pete Rose did. Yeah. And the only reason he got banned for life is because he would never admit what he did.
Right.
Plus, he's a tax evader, and he reportedly slept with underage girls. So
Super
screw
chats.
him. Go ahead.
Jeff's bookshelf says, Jason,
Ooh.
90 is the name of the highway, not the speed limit. You've been a problem driver forever.
Oh, my God. There's people angry at you for saying you were on your phone in the car.
I put it down. I'm usually not. Well, only on long
Jason's
trips.
exaggerating
Only
a
on
little
long
bit. You know, come on.
We have one from Brennan I'm going to come back to. I want to end with the one from Brennan. Curtis Reeser says that was the most whacked schedule release video ever.
Yep, that's
Salvatore the 216 says another classic bull rant. Thank you with 5 laughing emojis. Salvatore the 216 says, Jason, what do you think is going through Jared's mind when he closes out on 3-pointers with his head down?
I don't know. I don't know.
Marcus Sanders says, keep Di Jerome and bring up Amani Bates.
God.
Shout out G. Bush.
Oh, my goodness.
Amani Bates is a bum. No offense to Amani Bates. He can't play in the NBA. Everybody in the game knows this. Sorry.
That's messed up.
I'm sorry.
Ahmed Fadala has two. First one, all-time Bull rant. Y'all better clip that.
Thank you.
And secondly, he says, Jason, if you have time in Baltimore, dinner's on me.
Well, it might have to be breakfast. I get there at 6 a.m.
Mick McGee says, for the Cavs, I mostly blame Kenny. When the Cavs were up 19, they dominated the paint. Then they lost the lead when they started jacking up threes. He also says, did you see what Trevor Bauer said?
Yes.
No, I didn't see it. What did he
What do
say?
you say now?
Something to the effect of, it had to do with Pete Rose, I think. That are they letting everyone back in baseball now, or something like? Are they letting? Which he was never banned from baseball.
No,
in the
he's
first
not
place.
banned.
Teams
Nobody
just
wants
didn't
him.
want to sign him.
Nobody likes
I
you,
assume that's
Trevor
what he's.
Bauer.
I don't remember exactly what he said. But something to that. effect.
Like most narcissists, he makes it all about him. Nobody wants you, Trevor. That's why you're not in the league.
Next one's from DB Dog 21. He says, so from yesterday, my question was, do you think Mobley can transform his body in the way that Giannis did? Would that help him?
It definitely would help him.
It'd help him, but he'd lose his jumper.
Not necessarily.
Yes, he would. Giannis lost his.
Did he ever have one?
Giannis
never had it.
He could shoot coming into the league.
I don't
Giannis
think
had a jumper, he would have been drafted higher probably.
I don't think Mobley should try to turn into like a muscle freak like Giannis. Like, I don't think that's necessarily beneficial, but we saw he put on, 20 pounds from last year to this year? I think he's got another 10, 15
Did he
pounds
really?
to put on.
It was 20 pounds?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that much.
He holds it in his lower body.
Oh.
Like,
There's definitely more room for him to
there's
grow.
definitely And it would definitely help.
and get
Yes to both
stronger
of them.
and be even better.
Is Jalen Tyson ever going to be somebody meaningful on the Cavs?
He's going to get a chance
Might be next year.
For what it's worth, I liked what I saw from
He
him.
was
when
fine.
was
That's
around.
I said the
where
same
they
For a
thing.
go.
low
For where
drafted
they got
rookie,
him.
I thought he showed some promise.
And they put him in good spots where he could
Yeah, right.
be effective.
But like he could have been a 0
Yeah.
easily, and he wasn't
Yeah.
at all.
Did he get
Last,
any playoff
uh,
minutes?
He'll get a chance next year.
Not any
Last
real
super
minutes.
chat.
The blowout.
What's that?
We got one more. This one's from Tyvis, or for Tyvis.
Oh, man.
It's from Brennan. Tyvis, I need you to rank these Buckeye receivers for me. Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Marvin Harrison Jr., Emeka Ibuka, and Jeremiah Smith.
In college? Oh, so
Yeah,
only in college.
in college, I'm guessing. JJ's 1, Marv's 2. He
JJ
gave
is
out
in
a-
Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah.
He's already number 1.
Why? Oh, yeah.
Yes. Stop. Just don't stop.
Stop it. Stop it.
Don't do this. Stop. The JJ, Marv.
Yeah.
Who are the others?
Who's it? Ibuka,
Ibuka,
Olave.
JSN, Olave, and Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson's next, right?
Garrett, JSN, Olave, Ibuka.
I think I agree with all of that.
Yeah.
I was wondering JSN and Olave, but I think I agree
Could
with
you
on
put
all of that.
Garrett Wilson ahead of
No.
Marv? No.
No.
Nah, I guess you're right.
Marv was in the Heisman.
I know. I
race.
guess I think I'm blinded because Marv hasn't been as good so far in the NFL.
It's crazy
This is
because
first
when I
year.
saw Garrett,
Yeah.
I thought that guy is unbelievable. And then 2 more dudes came after him. That
Yeah,
made
yeah.
him look.
Garrett, a freak of an athlete.
I'd like to see what Garrett would do with a good quarterback.
Well, he got-
Unfortunately, he's not going to
I
happen.
think
this
he's
year.
so damn good.
He got Justin.
I like
so
him
good.
too.
Him and Justin to be all right. They was good in college.
How long is Justin
Listen,
Fields going to last as a starter?
Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase got together and boom. Tua got Jalen Waddle. Boom.
Yeah.
Garrett get Justin. Boom.
All right, we got to head to overtime. We appreciate
Boom.
you
We're
tuning
going
in.
overtime next.
See you in 3 minutes. Peace.